What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 200 of the Passionate DJ podcast. Now, let me just start by saying, oh my God, I can't believe that we've done this 200 times. Episode 200 is an amazing milestone, and whether this is the first time you've ever listened to our show or if you've been here since day one, thank you so much for being a listener, for being a supporter of Passionate DJ and the podcast. We love doing this, and we love having you along with us for the journey. Now, this is why we wanted to reach out to some friends of the show and have a little bit of a celebration. Those of you who have been around long enough to remember episode 100, you'll remember that we brought a few guests here into the show, and we sort of celebrated and just had a free-form conversation. We wanted to sort of build on that idea for episode 200. We planned on that for a while. Obviously, at the time we recorded this, everybody was under quarantine or lockdown or whatever for the COVID-19 outbreak, and so we weren't really able to do that, and so we had to do the virtual version of that. The upside of that is that we had an amazing turnout. We had 14 or 15 people on this episode, which is just amazing. Lots of friends of the show. Most of them are sort of regional to us. We wanted to reach out to anybody who has either been part of the show before, would have something interesting to share, or is maybe affected by, the current events and what's happening. And so I had Tony reach out to these people and have them come here to share their stories with you. I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. Of course, it's an extra long episode, as we do with a special show just like this one. So I hope that you'll enjoy. Now, for everybody who's here on the show, I've posted their Instagram links in the description of this show. We are also going to have a special drop-in guest during the show, a secret guest, so stay tuned for that. And the other thing that I wanted to announce before we move on is that we are also, like many of you who are at home and really focusing on live streams and things like that, we have started our own Twitch channel, and so you should go and follow that right away before you even listen to this show. Go to twitch.tv/passionatedj if you want to see what we co-hosts are doing as DJs. If you'd like to hear us, play music, and you'd like to see us, bring guests in to play shows and kind of produce different shows and do this online thing. So if you want to follow us for the music stuff rather than the talking and the podcast content and the how-to stuff and all that, follow us over at Twitch. Once again, that's twitch.tv/passionatedj. And stay tuned. Very soon, here in a week or two, we're going to do a very special event where we'll be kicking that off with a launch. Now, the final thing that I want to talk about before we get on to episode 200 is one thing that we did actually 100 episodes ago was we changed our theme song, and so we decided to continue that tradition. So I want to thank Trip Turlington specifically for letting us use his amazing intro music for the last 100 episodes of the Passionate DJ podcast. Trip, thanks so much. Still love the song, and I'm sure that you'll see it creeping into other pieces of content, just like I still occasionally sneak in that first theme that we ever used if you pay attention and listen. So, today we will present our new theme song, which is the song Earth Stands by our friends Crystal Grid. So, with that being said, enjoy the new theme song, and welcome to episode 200. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Passionate DJ podcast. I'm your host, David Michael. We're here with the whole crew and then some. I've got Tony, Trip, and Mo on the social distancing across the entire town here. How you doing, fellas? Good to see you.
What's up?
Chilling.
And this is a big, exciting time. This is episode 200. I can't believe we've made it to 200 episodes, and so we've got a party, or at least a virtual party. For episode 100, we brought several of you who are in the room, actually, in here to kind of hang out with us, and we're doing it again for 200. Of course, we're doing the quarantine slash social distancing thing, so we had to do it virtually, but we got a great turnout, so that's that's a plus side. Everybody, just welcome. Thank you so much for being here, and it's great to hear from you. I'm going to kind of quickly go one by one, and if you guys could just give sort of the elevator pitch version of like who you are as a DJ. What kind of music do you play? Anything that you want to talk about as far as your musical influence, what's your alias and what do you want to plug and that kind of stuff.
And for a bonus point, if you can name which episode you're on, that'll be awesome too.
Yeah, so we don't have to look it up. We actually have a number of you who are first-time guests, and that's awesome. And you're all people who we've wanted to have on for a long time. So thank you so much for being here. It's awesome to see all these people in the room. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And since I just kind of wrote everybody down in alphabetical order here by first name, sorry, Will. So we're going to just kind of go through and introduce everybody. So he's kind of a longtime veteran to the show. You guys know him as B-Funk. His name is Brandon. He's from Athens, Ohio. And he's been on the show, I think, twice now as an official guest. And so welcome back, Brandon. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, this is awesome. When you guys reached out about this, I was like, crap, yeah, that's right. 200's happening. I was looking up my episode earlier today. I think it's like 167 or something, but I can look up after and send it to you, save some work because I get that. Elevator pitch. I'm a mobile DJ based at Athens. Half my work is weddings. The other half is just parties, and do a lot of EDM and flow between open format. And I probably have to say EDM is probably where. And my love is old school hip hop and disco, I'd probably say. So.
Last time you were on, I think it was the last time you were on, we did a pick 3 episode where we talked about trance music. Do you still, sorry, Will, again, do you still keep up with trance music? And like, do you have any new kind of trance recommendations? I always ask because I'm not very good at keeping up with it.
Yep. I got a Spotify playlist. So here's where the schism happens. I listen to a lot of Anjuna beats, which a lot of trance heads would be like, you suck. That's not real trance. It's not real 138. Let me think. It's funny. We were talking about some Signum and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I tend to flow back into the older stuff. Like Paul van Dyk is probably top 3 of my favorite DJs of all time. I've seen him probably 6, 7 different times. So I definitely still like the 138, but it's not, I don't know. 138's different now with the psytrance. I'm not really that kind of guy, if that makes sense. So yeah. But yeah, Andrew Bear, Oliver Smith, both of those guys are people I follow in Juno Beats. I can link something at the show if you want to check some stuff out. That trance episode was like my heart. Cause like when you played, was it Blackbird? Yeah.
John Chappell's going to like this one. It's Superfly by Yellow Blackbird.
Yeah. Yellow Blackbird, Yellow, something like that. But Superfly, that was on like one of those ripped Paul van Dyk, mixes I got off of like, Trance Addict. Trance Addict, yeah. And didn't know the name of the song. I just, it was before you could get any of that stuff. It was just track 3 on the second disc. And then I got, Politics of Dancing 2, and it was on there. And that when you played that, I was like, someone else has heard this song that lives in Ohio? Like, what? So I'm all about that. All
right, B-Funk, it's good to hear from you, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Next up, we've got a brand new guest to the show. His name he goes by Fatty Lumpkin, and he's an amazing scratch DJ. And this is his first time on the show. So, hey, thanks so much for being here, Fatty. What's up?
Thank you. I'm excited.
So this has been a long time coming. So the couple of startup questions I have for you are pretty basic because, I just basically want to ask you if you have like a biggest DJ influence and or a biggest kind of hip hop influence, because the stuff that you do with turntables is pretty incredible.
Well, I came up in the golden era of this Naturally Qbert, Invisible Scratch Pickles, the Executioners. I first got into like turntablism and like doing hip hop DJing when I got it was the 1997, 98, and 99 DMC videos. Okay. Because before that, it was just the only turntablism I saw, or turntables at all I saw, was at parties and house music and drum and bass, and that's all it was at that time, the late 90s, early 2000s. I always grew up listening to hip hop, Yo MTV Raps, just all the way. But then, started going to parties and actually got introduced to, DJing through parties and raves. And then as I got better and got better equipment, then I actually, started practicing juggling and scratching and stuff. I had a roommate, and we kind of battled off back and forth with each other. So that's kind of how we learned quickly. Yeah.
And equipment-wise, what's your preferred setup? I know turntables, obviously, but you're a Serato guy, right?
Yes, I currently have Serato, just haven't upgraded at all. But,
so what kind of mixer?
Just still the Rain. I think it's the 6 mono, but holding out for the S9.
Trusty old battle mixer, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's been way too long, and while I've got you here, once all this passes over, will you please come in here and show everybody what you can do on the decks? You can do a live stream or something.
Yes, can't wait. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, next up, we have another return guest, Mr. Shifter, a.k.a. Jack Sheets, an amazing DJ producer from Columbus, Ohio. Jack, welcome back to the show, buddy.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
So I want to ask you about something that I saw you post the other day about upgrading Rekordbox.
I knew you were going to bring this up. I want to talk about it. No,
what happened, man?
It was me and how much of it was Rekordbox being janky, but I'm always like, if I see a new update, like I'm on it. Like Ableton, Rekordbox, anything. Like I don't want to wait. I want the new features. I want to test it out.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
What's that?
It's what you're supposed to do, right? Keep it updated, and
I guess. So I'm just like beyond OCD about like my beat grids, my hot cues, my memory cues. Like I get silly with tagging and my tags. I like do it all just because I have such a large library with all different kinds of music, and I'm like I want everything to be exactly how I want. So if I need a certain kind of crate or I need to find a certain track, I know exactly where it is. So, yeah, when I upgraded, I had a bunch of issues where I lost, like, I can't even imagine, like, weeks and weeks of, like, beat grid information. And it just, that stuff happens. Like, hurts. I've literally spent, like, the last 2 or 3 days, like, hours a day, like, just getting it all back. Like, picking all the tracks that I really like, just, like, prioritizing those. But yeah, it just was a hard lesson learned.
It's like somebody walking into your record shelf and just grabbing everything and just throwing it on the floor and ripping all the notes off and scattering it about.
Yeah, that's how it felt. Like, I mean, I've had stuff like this happen before. It's not the end of the world. It's just digital information. It's, you know, it's not like my basement flooded, like, you know, and I lost a bunch of records or anything like that.
Which has happened to several people in this room, I'm pretty sure.
I know. Right as I was saying that, I thought about that. So yeah, you know, no big deal. I've got it. I'm back on track. And but it was frustrating because I was just wanting to get on streaming some DJ sets and things like that. In the week up to upgrading to Rekordbox 6, like I was just like feverishly getting everything how I wanted it, and I like lost all that stuff. But
one quick question while I've got you. I know that you were taking piano lessons. I'm sure that's is that continuing as before? Or are you doing virtual piano lessons?
It's been like 3 years now. It's like, I mean, I'm a dad. I have 3 kids. I have a busy career, so like I don't have a lot of time. So it's just a half hour every Friday, and then I have like quote unquote homework throughout the week to work on. But it's been awesome. Like it's just a very, very slow trajectory. Like I'm nowhere near where I want to be. But you know, every year I make, you know, every month I make more and more progress. So hopefully one day I'll be able to like jam out on the roads and just solo, you know. I'm not quite there yet.
Well, we're glad to have you here, man. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Next up on the list, we have a returning guest. It's been a very long time since he's been on the show. It was the first time was like episode 7 or 9, or is a single-digit episode, and that is the one, the only Mr. John Chappell. John, welcome back finally to the show.
Hey, what's up? It was episode 9, so this is like the pre. This is just when it was David, actually.
It was just me. I think we were in my basement with this and a couple other mics, and no video and no lighting, and yeah, it's been a while. And since then, we haven't heard from you much, other than occasionally you've left a little voicemail or a sound clip for us.
No, that's always been Ron Chorple.
I don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't me.
No, that wasn't you.
Oh, and definitely don't expect a bunch more after this.
So, I wanted to ask you, because you've always been so involved with DJing locally, like, what is your kind of impression of all things considered? I'm not talking about, coronavirus and all that, but up until recent events, what's kind of your beat on the scene locally? Like, has it changed over the years? Is it going anywhere? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Actually, it's funny because this is what we talked about like back in 2014, really. It's kind of gone towards Cincinnati and Columbus, really, because I mean, back when like the weekly started, my God, that was like 2009, 2010 or something like that. Cincy was having trouble booking shows, and Columbus, I think at the time, you couldn't really, you had to be like Jack Sheets or Aaron Austin to get booked. So they were coming to like this weekly. Now I think it's shifted where like I think Columbus has it, and I think Cincy has it, and but as far as local shows, anything like that, it's not really much going on anymore. They lost One Eyed Jacks, so that was and Mask is they stopped, they shut down, so it's not really much going on. But I mean, these things are a wax and wane sort of situation, right. So I'm sure that like this is just on the bottoming out, and I'm sure it'll come back.
Well, you do a lot of regular gigging. Is that still going on? I mean, to the same degree?
If this was like 1998, I would be called like the sellout of this whole, because like I'm doing second string for Fatty now, so whenever he can't work, I'm just working for him. But I book I'll do a lot of weddings and stuff at this point, but I'll do a lot of local gigs too, a lot of charity events, especially with all the shit that happened in 2019. So a lot of that, but I don't do the weekly anymore. And, so it's just a little stagnation, but I'm spending the quarantine just organizing my library, really. So,
well, we had such a good, strong run there for a while locally in Dayton that, to your point, it does wax and wane. So, I mean, it can only grow full steam for so long before we see a little bit of a retraction. So I'm thinking that this whole situation we're in is going to do something to just get people wanting to be out again. And so,
I think streaming helps. I think streaming really gets people interested because, man, like, it sounds nuts, but like we've been streaming and like I've never made so much money.
That's good. We'll definitely get back into that. And since you're sharing a camera there, Kim, welcome back to the show. Kim L. Good to see you. And so I can't remember what episode you were on either, but you came and we talked about kind of all the hometown stuff. Do you have kind of the same impressions as John about the local scene? Does it kind of wax and wane like that? Has it kind of shifted? You're very involved with, Therapy Cafe and like a lot of, the local events that are happening. So kind of what's your impression of what's going on here locally?
I mean, I'm pretty much on the same page as John with everything. We're just kind of in like a lull right now. But I do have hopes for, after we reopen and, get back to things, that there will be some kind of influx of energy and, just people sparking passions and wanting to get out and do things and share that with other people.
How was Silent Disco doing before now?
Silent Disco, before all of this, we were still maxing out just as we were when it first started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it hasn't really lost any pace at all.
I know that you had started kind of exploring music production. Is that still something that you're focusing on, especially now that we're kind of stuck at home?
Yeah, it was actually something that I've been talking about for a really long time, and I came across Logic as my choice for the moment. I have been diving in, and it's been difficult to navigate and figure out, but I'm like starting to put together some pieces and just kind of exploring all of the different elements that you can do.
Yeah, now's the time to dive in for sure. Kim and John, thank you guys so much for being here. It's great to see you both.
For sure.
Next up on the list, we have another longtime hopeful guest that we finally got on the show today. You know him as Bit Flip. His name is Mark Nagel. Mark, welcome to the show. We'd like to learn a little bit about you. Tell us about what you do as a DJ, and tell us about Fresh List and whatever else you want to tell us about.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been DJing for, like over 15 years now, which is crazy to think about for me. But, had my first like real party experience, then just got completely hooked. Really, I play a lot of different stuff. Lately, I've been playing a lot of breaks, garage, and house, a lot of UK stuff, which I've really been digging. I'm a gearhead too. I don't know if you can, whatever.
Yeah, I see that
stuff. I nerd out on a lot of this stuff. So really, I've been getting into like live sound lately too. So that's been really cool. Just exploring that, and basically we have a monthly down here in Cincinnati. It's called Fresh List. I'm not actually wearing a Fresh List shirt for one time in a million, but Will's got the hat on, so he's repping. But yeah, we do a monthly down here in Cincinnati, and we've been going for over 5 years, coming up on 6 now. So it's going to be pretty exciting. Our anniversary party is always a good time. We have a good time making stage props and light up stuff and whatever comes out of our brains at the time. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
That's great, man. Can you maybe just like point out a couple things in your studio there and just like tell us about some of the gear that you use both as a DJ and for making music?
Well, CDJ setup, standard deal. I had a really hard time switching from Serato to CDJs. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but it was like really, really tough at first, at least. Just like the speed of a computer, being able to do everything really, really quickly, being able to search music really, really quickly. But I've adjusted to it a lot. I really have embraced this setup, the 2000 Nexus and the 900 Nexus too. But honestly, like one of my favorite things is this little Pioneer RMX 500. I've had the RMX 1000. If you put it like something with buttons and knobs in front of me, I'm probably going to love it. But this thing is super fun. It's affordable. It's got a little drum machine on there, which I admittedly don't use that much. But drum machine, beat effects, like rise and fall effects. And then one of the cool things you can do with it is actually like change if these effects, the rise and fall effects, run into the beat effects in the drum machine or the opposite. So you can feed this side into this side or this side into this side and get some really cool stuff going on.
Is that what is that like little sequencer that I see there? Is that the Torres SP16?
This one right here?
Yeah.
That's the SP16.
Nice. I think that's the first time I've seen one in person, quote unquote.
Yeah. They're really fun. And, a buddy of mine works for Pioneer, and he gave me the heads up that, like, hey, keep your tour eyes. We got some cool stuff going on. I'm like, okay, sweet. And, man, they released an update for it, and there's like 2 effects banks on each pad now, so they expanded kind of the usability of it, and I don't know, it's been a lot of fun.
Nice.
Admittedly, I need to use it a little bit more live. Like, I'm kind of comfortable with it live, but I really want to get to the point where I'm like just ripping it out. And I think a few episodes back, I heard Tripp talking about, I think it was the Roland DJ 808, maybe, like, who wants to randomly program a drum beat? Like, dude, I'm the guy that wants to randomly program a drum beat. It's interesting. I like the way Kink plays and like that kind of stuff. I think that's really cool. So
nice. Yeah, I've been getting a little bit into that myself. I've got mine's a Native Instruments based setup, but I've got a keyboard and a machine studio and stuff, and I finally dragged it from the desk side to the booth side to start kind of incorporating some live elements myself. So I definitely feel you there, man.
Yeah, it's really dope. It's a lot of fun. Same kind of concept too.
Well, Mark, thanks so much for being here, man. It's been way too long to get you on here.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
And next up on the list, we have a returning guest once again. Give it up for the master of acid, Mr. Matt Freeman. What's up, Matt?
How's everybody doing?
Doing good, man. It's good to see you. You're incredibly beardy.
I am. That's all I've been working on. I want a beard.
So I wanted to ask you about a couple of things, being that you're a return guest to the show. Asylum reunions. I know I want to come back around to that, and maybe we can talk about if and when you're doing something, during this whole lockdown situation with that. But I'd like to know how the last one went, and maybe remind the audience what the Asylum was and what those reunions are, if you don't mind.
Well, the last one was even, like I always say, it gets bigger every year. So the turnout was awesome. I mean, we probably had about, 250 out maybe. The Asylum back in the day was just that club in the 90s that was a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of techno, a little bit of industrial, a little bit of everything. So it was a really good time. And, we just do the reunions to kind of relive those days and get everybody back together. And they're still going strong. So we'll keep doing them. And I think during the quarantine that's going on, we're just going to probably do some live streams. That seems pretty popular amongst everybody right now. So we'll probably do one of those.
Awesome, man. I also wanted to ask you real quick. I know that you bought some gear recently too, some hardware for production. What are these new toys and what are you doing with them?
I just bought the Behringer TD3. I'm out at about $150 price point, and they sound pretty close to the 303 Roland. So teaching myself how to run the 303. Grabbed a drum machine, just a little drum brute impact, just to kind of teach myself hardware, because I've always used software. So just trying to learn a little bit of Ableton, Reason, and then, like I said, the hardware as well.
Can you mention again real quick what the hardware was, just because it cut out for a second there? Oh,
it's the Behringer TD3.
Which is like the 303 clone.
From Roland, yeah. So it's on point so far. It's I've probably put together about 20 tracks. So hopefully I'll have those online soon, so people can play those hopefully in their sets whenever we get out in the real world.
Matt, it's good to hear from you, man. Once again, you're one of the few people who actually has played behind the decks here for a live stream, but we'd love to have you back, man, and especially if you start incorporating some of that live gear, I'd love to hear what you're doing with that.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, I've got one more guest to announce, and then we also have a special guest who I believe has joined us. I'll introduce here just in a few minutes, but you know him as FIRECAT 451. He's a return guest to the show. I think this is his third time. Please give it up for the one and only Will Ellis. FIRECAT, welcome back to the show, buddy.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
So my question is, when is the next FIRECAT / Trip Turlington collab track?
Well, what had happened was... Trip had went to school and had a family, and then forgot Ableton existed. And, I don't know what happened.
No, so before you jump in, like I do have some whips. We've been trading a couple of messages, so it's just a matter of catching the vibe and getting some stuff written down.
This is true. I would dare to say that Trip and I could have music released long before the lockdown's over, because I think that we have that kind of synergy. And I feel like that once we both get focused on the actual idea of it, it comes together super quick. It comes together really quick.
I agree.
What has been your sort of genre focus lately, Will?
You know what? So I went through the split identity thing where being a multi-genre DJ, I didn't really want to whiplash my fan base by having the name FIRECAT 451, and then you buy your ticket, and then I play house, and you were expecting drum and bass, or you're expecting dubstep. So what I did do was birth the alias HouseCat 154, which you may have kind of seen a little bit, to specify to my crowd, hey, I'm doing house this time.
Right.
And I'm doing the house that I started out doing decades ago, 20 years ago, that funky stuff. So I've kind of been separating that house identity from the drum and bass identity. But to answer your question, I've been 190% drum and bass lately. Like,
okay,
my every recent file in Ableton back there is drum and bass. Every recent file.
So just diving straight back into drum and bass. That's awesome. So like what, like high energy stuff, or more like on the liquid side? I mean, where you've been aiming?
I'm balancing. I think no matter what genre I play, it's always going to have that kind of funk to it, which in the drum and bass field puts me kind of squarely into liquid funk and jazz step. But I also have that edgy kind of neuro side too. Drum and bass is that type of genre that will let you enjoy a beautiful sunny day or rob a bank. Like it's, that's both of those are drum and bass. So yeah, I've really been focused on that 100% and getting my techniques for production up to speed to work more efficiently.
One more quick question. If I were a classic trance song, what would the title be?
Oh, Perpetual Sunrise. That would be and you would be a 14-minute song on one side, and the other side would be the 22-minute extended mix.
How did you have an answer ready to go? I swear to God, I didn't ask you before.
I lived this life. I have lived this life. I swear sometimes I could see it coming up like sun rays through the trees. It's trance music.
That's amazing. Will, thank you so much for being back on the show, man. It's good to have you.
And a bonus, I was on episode 130 and 131. As well as the Fam Jam, so you don't have to go back into the archives for that.
Oh, that was so helpful, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we have one more guest to introduce, a late arrival. He's one of our good friends. He's an excellent DJ and just all-around nice guy, Mike Donovan. Welcome back to the Passionate DJ Podcast, my friend.
Thank you. I thought you were going to say Tony DeSaro. I was like, oh, he's running late too.
That's right. It's good to see you, man. How are you doing?
Just like everyone else, I assume. Just hanging in there, taking it day by day. Not really that different, only that we can't do anything.
Yeah, so you work from home already, right? Or do you still work? No, you don't work from home anymore. That's right.
Correct.
Or didn't anyway.
Yeah, correct. So I worked full-time somewhere else, but I'm still working I'm still currently employed, but at home.
Gotcha.
Do this thing.
And so for those who aren't aware, Mike Donovan is also an amazing graphic designer. Is that the title you take, graphic designer?
Yeah.
And so he's largely responsible for the look of Passionate DJ, our logo, our color palette, all that kind of stuff. If you buy any of our merch at passionatedj.com/merch and it's got our logo on it, you can thank Mr. Mike Donovan.
When did we do that?
Geez, it's been a long time. I think
it has been.
I stopped using the classic logo in probably 2015, 2016. So it's been a few years for sure. And I love it. I mean, it's just that bright blue, man, just pops. It works great for thumbnails and everything else. It's really worked out.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but I remember going, like, every time I go through a brand or rebrand process, like, at some point through it, everyone's like, I'm not sure what's going on here. Like, these concepts don't make sense. But then, like, once it's launched and it's live, like, your logo and your brand completely makes sense in terms of, like, the optics and visually out. It totally makes sense.
I really appreciated you taking the time to do that too, because like people don't realize how long and tedious of a process that kind of was. Like, I came to you with vague ideas, like I want something that's like talks says this is about DJing, but is also like about passion and do something with this. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's, like 30 emails later, we finally kind of take that down to what we're actually looking for. And so you came up with kind of the logo, incorporating the heartbeat monitor idea, and you said, I picked out a color palette for you. I looked up colors of passion, and so I came up with this and this and this as an accent color, and I was like, man, that's perfect. That's exactly why I hired a professional. So appreciate that.
It was fun.
So I wonder, other than the current state of affairs, what the status is of Volume Deep. I see you're wearing the shirt. I know it's been on kind of hiatus or pause or whatever for a while, but you did do I don't know if you call it a reunion show or something not too long ago. And so I wonder if, is Volume still on your mind? And I guess we should say Volume being a sort of deep house-ish focused local event, one of my favorites. Would love to see it come back. So would love to hear what you have to say about that.
So Volume is, so I remember the first podcast I did with you guys, and we called it the 8th day of the week.
Yep.
Because we talked about how, I fit DJing in kind of like on the 8th day of the week. That's still how I look at Volume right now. Like, very busy, married, raising kids, working, just like everyone else. But if I can fit it in on the 8th day of the week, if there's an opportunity that makes sense, it's certainly not dead, but it's certainly not something I think about often.
So it's sort of
kind of
sort of I guess I would call that a passion project. I mean, maybe that might be too strong of a word for something that's idle most of the time, but something that you do because you want to and when you can, rather than something you're relying on.
No doubt.
Completely random question, but I have to ask you, as a fellow Nintendo fan, what's your current favorite Switch game right now? And I bet I can guess, but...
Well, my wife is currently playing Animal Crossing in the background.
That was my guess, okay.
I actually don't play it. I've never played it since the first original on the GameCube. I met Gina actually back in those days, and she kind of took over it, and every version that comes out, she plays. But not my favorite, but what I'm currently playing right now, and I talked to Jack about this. Guacamelee. Yeah, Guacamelee too. I'm playing it right now because it's so... stupid fun. Yeah.
Describe that to me, because I've heard that name and that's all I know about it. That says a lot and yet nothing.
So like the I guess the genre is called like Metroidvania, because it's very similar in terms of like the original Metroid, in terms of like the non-linear map and how you can kind of backtrack and you unlock an ability and you go all the way back to pick up an item, but it's a platformer kind of Metroidvania.
Nice.
But you're what are you, a luchador?
Yes.
It's so bizarre. It's so bonkers, but it's fun. It's a stupid fun game. What's up, Jack?
Hey, good to see you.
Yep, likewise.
Yeah, we have the whole episode 100 crew in the room now. So
Good.
We ended the last show with saying here's to another 100, so we did it.
Yep.
So I thanks for being here, Mike. It's great to hear from you, and we keep hinting and talking about having you come over and play some house music here. I can't wait for the day, man. Let's get it done.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. This whole thing's made me yearn for my own gear, but I don't know if that's, again, I don't know if that'd be a realistic thing for me to do in my situation. Like, I don't know if I want to invest in gear when I made up my mind years ago I was going to get rid of all my gear.
Well, we've got gear when you're ready to use it, man.
Okay, yeah. So why get it when I can just bum it off you guys?
That's right. So we're going to shift the conversation just a little bit and talk about kind of the current situation that we're in and what we're doing while we're kind of stuck at home. But as we do that, I want to go ahead and introduce a very special guest who has joined the room, and hopefully he's ready to go. I see he's on mute there. He is just an incredibly well-known, prolific event producer, amongst other things. Disco Donnie, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being back on the show, man.
Thank you. Since I've gained so much weight during this shutdown, I've been turning down all video requests. But since it was number 200 and Tony asked me, I was like, shit, okay. I'll lose the vanity for 1 second.
Well, it's great to see you, man. And I know that you have some things going on, even though you've been stuck at home. Could you tell us maybe a little bit about what has transpired with your company and what's going on with the event production stuff?
On the event side, yeah, I mean, obviously there's nothing going on, but with my company side, I purchased the company back on April 1st. So, it was something already in the works, and I was prepared since probably early January. My insurance agent told me that they weren't insuring. I was trying to bond some festival coverage, and they told me that they weren't insuring for coronavirus. It's on the cancellation insurance, there's a infectious disease carve out, and which I've never gotten because it's it sounds silly. I'm sure we'll have it soon next time. But she called out that, well, Lloyd's of London is excluding coronavirus. So then I went to the source of all good information, which is Reddit. And, I've been following these chains for 4 months, but even though a lot of it was crazy, I was able to protect myself and also protect what was going on. I mean, it's really stupid to buy an events company during a global pandemic, right? There's no shows going on. But it was important for me to be able to control, the future. And I got a good deal. They were desperate to get rid of it. I was desperate to have it and control it. And so it worked out for both of us.
So this is obviously a really tough question, and none of us can predict the future, but you have your ear to the ground on this stuff better than I'm sure any of us. What is the future of this stuff? I mean, what kind of things are on your mind as far as, okay, the next big event that I put together, what's different about it? What's the new normal?
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody can answer that. And I mean, I think if you look how, if you use European model, how they unwound things, and which I thought, even though I knew this was coming, I thought the unwind would be similar to that, where if you said New York was a country and Florida was a country, and, they would go from 5,000 to 2,000 to 1,000 to 500. Like if they would limit capacities going down that way, I figured that some sections of the country would be open at the other times. So even though I knew this was coming, I didn't see it going all down at once. So if they did, and they did that because what they were doing in other countries obviously didn't work. And what you're seeing here now is probably going to be a scaled opening. And so, we're on the larger events, we'll be last on a totem pole to kind of get opened up. As far as like clubs and bars and stuff, that I think also is like kind of on the back burner. So I don't think anybody can predict what's going on. I do know that there's, we all know this is, there's some states that want to get open and there's some states that want to stay closed. So unfortunately, we didn't do this, but there's going to be a human science experiment going on. There's two sides of the coin of red states and blue states, and they're going to open up some sooner than others. And, we'll have some kind of data, because right now I don't think people understand. So, at least we'll be able to see, unfortunately, for those people in those states that are opening, it could be bad for them, but, we won't know until things start opening up and how far they can go. But I mean, I don't think at this point anybody can tell what's going to happen 6 months from now, much less a month from now.
Just for a little bit of context, can you maybe mention a couple names of some events or festivals that you have a hand in, just so that we know the kind of the scale of what we're talking about here?
Well, I had a festival that was supposed to happen this weekend. It's called Ubby Dubby, and it's going to be about 50,000 people. And it was supposed to be in Arlington, Texas, the Dallas area, and so I moved that to October and combined it with my Houston festival, which is Freaky Deaky. And then I have a festival in Tampa that was supposed to be at the end of May, and we moved it to July 4th, which it's a real Hail Mary. But the city wanted it, and the venue didn't want us to. They wanted us to extend it because they're more I guess, bullish on the future than a lot of other people. So we just, it didn't cost us anything to move it. And so, yeah, we're just in a holding pattern.
So during this kind of limbo, is this like what do you do with this time as far as that goes? I mean, are you in like an intense planning kind of stage right now, or is it really like the pause button, like we so don't know what's going on that we're just going to wait and then hit play again once we can be in public again? I mean, what do you do right now?
Well, since I bought the company back, I was able to offer refunds, and I was able to hold my whole team together and not let anybody go. So, it feels like I'm working, not the same, but it feels like I'm working all the time. And we're just, a lot of stuff that got postponed and canceled or whatever. There's a lot of effort that goes into it's almost like setting up a show is like canceling a show. It's almost the same thing, because there's all kinds of different mechanisms that go into it. So it's like the reverse. Like when I wanted to offer refunds for the festival LBW, it was almost like a reverse on sale. We announced it, we offered the refunds, and then you could see like a bunch of people the first day, and then less the second day, and less the third day. It was exact opposite of putting a show on sale. So we have a lot of that. So, I told my team to go ahead and take time and, but be connected and, spend some time with your family. And we never have any time to catch up or work on all these projects we always talk about. So I just asked them to, come up with some new idea every week and present it to us and try something we can be working on for when we do have these answers and when we do open up. And told them to take a break. But when they come back, they need to be energized. So, I mean, I'm trying to hold it all together for them. I'm acting all right. I'm acting like everything's going to be okay, but I'm not telling them that I'm not sure either. So.
Well, this isn't your first rodeo, right? I'm sure you've had to remain stoic in the face of trouble before.
Well, I mean, look, we had this similar things, 9/11. That was a little bit different. We couldn't see that one coming, and I had 8 months of shows booked, big shows. So then there was nobody knew that people were going to stop coming out, and nobody knew the impact of that hip hop and 9/11 combined, to kill the dance scene. So it was a bloodbath for all those months after 9/11. I guess the financial crisis, we were already kind of in 2008. I'm not sure that really affected us too much, because we were already in crisis as a scene. So we already had our tickets at like $5, $10 in advance, and for Carl Cox, $5 in it for the first 50, then 10 in advance, and 15 day of show. And you still couldn't sell tickets. So.
I just can't imagine, we're all struggling with this in different ways, and I can't imagine like my entire thing is built around the gathering of people. It's kind of a requirement of what you're doing. That's got to be stressful, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, look, to me, I mean, I started when my first event the first show I went to had like 100 people at it. So if they let us do shows for 100 people, or 500 people, or whatever they tell us we do a show, that's what we'll start at. So we can we'll just reset this whole thing and just go the other way. So we don't have to start at the top. Actually, it might be better to there was a lot of things that have transpired in this go world and this go scene, and maybe there's a way that we can we made that and we were participated in, but maybe there's a way we can now that the house burned down, maybe there's a way to build a better house.
I love it, man. That's great, and it's great to hear somebody like you say that, who's in the position that you're in, and you're certainly well poised to wave that flag. So, Donnie, we appreciate you being here today, and we're going to keep the recording going for at least another hour or so. You're welcome to stay and hang out as long as you like. I don't know how long you've got, but it's great to see you, man.
I would love to stay, but my wife, she's not having it already. So
understood.
What's up, Donnie?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
This homeschooling is crazy, so it doesn't leave much time for much else.
I hear you, man.
A lot of wine and a lot of homework.
I appreciate you doing this for us, man. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you.
Donnie, thanks for everything over the years. I appreciate all the shows, man.
Thank you. I'm glad I could be a part of this. If anybody needs anything or anything like that, let me know. I'm here. I have nothing but time and wine. Time and wine. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Donnie.
Thanks, Donnie.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Donnie.
I want to kind of talk a little bit about what Donnie sort of finished off with there as he left, and kind of hinting at, what are we doing to kind of flip this whole situation on its head? Obviously, this situation kind of sucks for a lot of us. We're just kind of not sure what to do with ourselves, not sure what the future holds. And so in some ways, there's a big opportunity here for us to take this time and, put it into our craft or put it into a project. So I would like to talk a little bit about, just what you guys are doing with this time at home. And I'll go ahead and bounce it up to B-Funk. Brandon, since we started with you, I know that you were a working DJ, and so you were kind of reliant on gigs, and I know that describes several of you in the room, so anybody can jump in now at this point. But Brandon, what are you doing, buddy? How are you holding up?
I mean, I'll start with a real positive. I have a 2.5-year-old. My wife's a teacher, so we've had amazing times with my daughter. I mean, you've probably seen some of my Instagram videos. We're just playing around, doing Street Fighter fights and stuff, and just having a good time. So, I mean, that time has been awesome. We were really busy before, and I think now I'm realizing that, we have time to do this type of stuff. So that's been good. But I got wiped out. I mean, I have several jobs outside of DJing. So I do a Ohio Brew Week, which is a craft beer festival, which is large gatherings. So I'm in a holding pattern. That happens in July. All my events are 100 people plus or whatever, weddings, birthdays, whatever. So right after that thing got closed, it just got wiped out. So I've been just waiting. All my stuff through May was canceled. June is, basically most of my money is made May through middle of September, middle of October. So I'm hoping I can get, maybe 50% of that or something like that, just to kind of coast through. So, but yeah, I mean, what have I been doing other than thinking about when we're going to get back to it? I'm going to actually go live for the first time on Saturday. I've been watching everybody go live, and I'm like, I'm not going to do it that way. I wouldn't have done it that way. I should do this. But then I don't do anything, if that makes sense. I'm sure some other people have that feeling like, I want to do it, different than that. I don't want to just play old stuff but I don't want to just play new stuff. And so I've been thinking about what I want to do. And some other DJs, some friends of mine from OU asked me to be on a show. I was like, you know what? Just got to do it. Your first time's going to suck. That's how you can get to your 50th when it's awesome. You guys have heard that quote, So I'm just going to do it. My visuals aren't going to be probably present. So I'm excited for that because I've said it on this show right here, so it's going to happen. Because I've been thinking in my mind for a while and just watching everybody. I'm like, I wouldn't do it that way. But I had this idea for a mix series that I've had about 2 years ago. One of the things I like about mixes is being exposed to different music and whatnot from different people. But what I'm finding in the mix landscape is, people aren't their patience is really short. They want what they want right away, or they're just, they're very much in their lanes. The house guys are here, and deep house is here, and drum and bass is here, and not everybody's really crossing over, and so they're only listening to their hive mind artists. And so I kind of wanted to find a way to make it creative without limiting people. So what I'm doing is this thing called Pick 4 Mix 4, where basically what ends up happening, like let's say all of us here are part of it. I'm just gonna use my screen right here. So I got Mr. Shifter over here. I'll be like, hey, you start with whatever you want. Pick 4 songs, any genre, go for it. Then after that, give me 2 songs. I'm going to mix in with the last song you started with, pick one of the 2 you had, and then I'm going to pick my 4, and then just pass along. And basically what ends up happening, you have like this 5-6 person mix of just whatever, you know? And so I've done 2 of those so far with a couple guys from OU. That's what I'm doing on Ableton, is stitching them together, which is a pain in the butt because like sometimes it matches up. Some people don't use the first song. I just texted the DJ. I'm like, hey, you didn't use the first song. And so that's why I'm trying to get a couple of under my belt before I actually like push it out and start inviting people. But it's just something that I wouldn't have done if I was in my normal routine. I was like, I should do that, but I don't want to sit down. But now I'm just at home. And so I was like, hey, you know, I'm going to talk to my buddies, have them like, hey, what do you guys think? They all really liked it. And I'm hoping that kind of picks up and it's just something different, you know, because it's so hard. I know we all hear release mixes and stuff. And, you know, my listenership's gone down. I think it's just because there's so much out there unless you have something that's different. But I also really like the fact that it's like, hey, here's something, just 5 DJs maybe doing their sound, you know, like, you know, FIRECAT was talking about, he's got the house cat and everything like that. You know, maybe he does house, maybe he does drum and bass, or maybe he just does like old school hip hop, you know, and stuff like, because we all listen to music that we're also not known for. And that's kind of what I want to happen out of that. So that's a positive I've had, you know, just having nothing but time on my hands, you know, to figure out.
Hey, Jack, do you remember what year was that we did something like that on Rave Trash?
Did something like what?
That mix. It was like you, me, ID. I don't even remember who all was in there, but like, what was it? There was like 5 or 6 of us, and we did exactly that. We all took 3 or 4 tracks each.
Yeah.
Just kept passing it around. That was a lot of fun. Yeah,
totally. Like, it sounds really, really cool. I'd like to get involved with something like that now. It's been so long ago that we did that. I have like vague recollections of it.
Right.
It was cool because I know we've talked on the show before about kind of those mixing games and stuff, but I think that's the first time I've ever heard a variation where it's like, I'm going to pick the next track and I'm also going to pick the first track that you play, and then you can do what you want. Like it just adds a little extra spin to it. That's pretty cool.
I've done something similar with the Military DJ Network, and there were like 4 different groups, and each group got 4 songs. And then you put together a mix with those 4 songs and then shared it with the group, and everybody just kind of told you. And then we picked a winner based off, you know, feedback and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. It's a cool game to play.
So has anybody else been kind of using this time to experiment with genre or style? I know that definitely includes me. I've been doing some little streams from my personal YouTube channel, and I decided I was in the same boat as a lot of people. I was kind of finding myself not really DJing very much, and like, wow, I have this great setup, and why am I not doing anything with it? So I started doing little 20 to 30 minute Sunday mixes just to have a reason to do something. And I've been using that as an excuse to try different kinds of DJing, different styles. So I put, you know, the first one I put together was, you know, Sunday techno selection. Then I did Sunday trance selection, then Sunday house selection, and so on, yada, yada. I'm going to do a chill one. I'm going to do a drum and bass one. And that way it's like not overwhelming for me to think like, oh shit, I got to put together like 2 hours of music to do my thing this week. It's nothing like that. It's like, oh, I got to come up with 5 tracks, and you just go for it. And it's kind of what you're talking about, Brandon. It's that kind of, what can I do top of mind, you know, here in the moment to come up with some tracks, but also like explore different areas of music. It's been kind of fun. I wonder who else has been exploring different styles. Anybody want to jump in on that? I want to make sure everybody gets a chance here.
I haven't been doing different styles, but the way I've been having to have my equipment set up at the club the whole time and focus on top 40 and hip hop and focus on the club for a really long time. This is the first time in years that I've been able to set up my turntables at home and actually, you know, scratch and cut and juggle and play with beats that I want to play with and play with songs that I want to play with. So I'm actually like coming back around full circle and having fun doing, you know, what I started out doing just for fun in my bedroom for hours and hours and hours 20 years ago. I've been posting little like 2-minute clips, 1-minute clips of just different things that I've been having fun in my room for strictly fun. So nothing new. It's actually, I've been coming back to the old.
I think that's how it is for like a lot of us. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'll say me personally, but I don't know, maybe you guys feel this way. Like this whole quarantine for us, like we've been streaming a lot. And a lot of it is like, shit, man, there's a lot more rust on these shoes than I thought there was, and I mean, that should always be important, but it's very easy to get complacent doing what you're doing. And then we're like shut down. And then there's, I'll say someone like me, there's nothing else to do. What do I do? Well, I might as well do like the one thing that like a long time ago I tried to make into a career. I might as well just do it for fun again. And then I'm doing it. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm not as good as I thought I was, So I'm just, now for me, it's all about practice. But just to go with what Fatty said, like, cause we work together. We're doing the same thing essentially is we're doing a lot of like top 40, a lot of hip hop and stuff. But, a lot of these guys, when they do that stuff, they're not really like mixing, or they're quick mixing, which is probably a bad idea to do considering the context. Cause in that thing, nobody wants to hear, a grand total of 45 seconds of each song. If you're playing 190 songs in a 5-hour period, like you're probably not doing it right, so, but, in the meantime, Kim and I have just been like, hey, let's tag, because I haven't tagged in forever.
Yeah, it's been really cool to have this much like back-to-back like practice.
Yeah, that's you guys have the benefit of rooming together, so you get to do the B2B thing more than the rest of us, I think.
Yeah, so if we die, we die together.
That's right.
It's fine. It's fine.
For me, I've always been an electronic DJ, and I've always loved and listened to hip hop, and I've never actually DJ'd hip hop because there's just so, there's really not a lot of lead in,
it's not easy,
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing 30-minute mixes on Sundays because in my social networks, most of the people that I'm friends with are not DJs. It's either the fitness community or the military community, and it's really cool to get the feedback from those friends who say like, hey, this is the coolest thing I've seen all week, or this was super positive. And I've kind of been doing kind of curated sets. Like the first one was just like a gangster, 90s. Next one was like 70s funk, inspired by David Michael, of course. And the last one I did was like chill R&B 90s, all the stuff like I remember getting dumped to at junior prom and stuff like that. Bringing back those painful memories for all of us. But no, it's been really cool. Just, I get DMs and stuff after the fact. It was like, hey, dude, thank you so much for doing that. Are you going to do another one next week? So, and again, going back to David's point, just doing a 30-minute set. I build a crate. I don't have to think long and hard about it. I set some cue points a couple days before, and like these are my friends who are, like I said, they're fitness people and military people, so they're not going to be criticizing and critical if I'm off measures or if I'm out of key or whatever. They're just listening, and they've actually, a couple of people sent me videos of like their kids dancing, listen to my mix and stuff like that. And that stuff's really cool, especially with everything we got going on right now. Just to know that I've put a smile on someone's face that I haven't seen in a while that's pretty dope.
And you've got your own VIP section.
Yes, I do. Team Turlington right outside the window. Yeah, they always get front row. They always get list.
Mark, how are you staying sane during all this, buddy? You got a lot of toys to play with. Are you diving into production or exploring different styles, or what have you been doing with this at-home time?
I've definitely been starting up streaming, which has been good. I was kind of the same at first. It's like, same as Brandon. I'm like, I don't want to do it this way. I don't want to do it that way. And then I ended up getting like a bunch of cameras from Micro Center, which, hold on, by the way, everybody should get one of these things because they are so cheap. Chris Nelson, shout out. You told me about these things. 1 second. They're like $18 from Micro Center.
Here we go.
They're security cameras. They're Wise security.
I was going to get you.
Will's got it right there.
This is the unit that he's talking about, which I'm actually technically not using right now.
I was looking into I had some Logitech cameras. They were like $100 a piece, and I'm like, I could literally buy 5 of these things for the same price, and they look, they don't look half bad. So I've been spending my time trying to focus on that a little bit, refocus and knock the dust off my boots, like John was saying. Just really trying to like enjoy DJing for DJing, and it's funny how like you get lost in we do the monthly event fresh list every month, and I'm always thinking about that. I'm always thinking about, hey, what are we going to do next? Who are we booking? Who are we this? What are we that? And sometimes you just get lost up in the rat race, and a forced slowdown like this points you back in the right direction to why you got into this in the first place. Makes you reconsider a lot.
What about you, Mr. Freeman? I know you've been diving into this new gear and doing production and stuff, but are you finding time to mix it all during this time in a DJ context?
Yeah, I'll do some mixes. Really just using the time as a reset. It's like we're so worried about what everybody else is doing and parties that are being thrown and everything else, and it's just good to sit back and worry about what you're doing and how I guess you're going to affect everything more positively when this is all over. So
I'm noticing that as kind of a recurring theme. That two things, that sort of like, okay, how are we going to come back into the world with what did we do with all this time, and then also this kind of feeling of like, as cliche as it sounds, like we're all in this together, right? Like there's no person that is immune from the effects of what's going on right now. And so there's this, more than I've ever experienced before, there's this kind of weird, like, there's a certain level of guilt that doesn't come along with me not getting things done, if that makes sense, because usually there's a certain expectation from whoever you're talking to. And right now it's kind of like nobody knows what's going on. There's just a certain level of understanding, I think, that we all have that I'm not used to having from the general public. That's kind of interesting. I wonder, just kind of switching over to the tech side of things, what has everybody been using? I've been seeing a lot of people using Restream. Has anybody been using Restream.io?
Yeah, I've been using it. I think my overzealous want for a high bitrate video stream has been the problem. But I would caution you to knock down the video quality a little bit for the sake of a smooth operation of the stream.
Okay.
720?
What's that?
720?
It's like, it's done by bitrate, and I'm no expert on this. So, but it's done by bitrate. You can set it in OBS to like limit it to, I think I have mine at like 2500.
Yeah, we use OBS too.
Yeah. So I set it there to like 2500, and I was still getting drops. It might just be my internet, to be honest, but Restream has been like unsteady for me, but it works great for everyone else, and I haven't figured out why.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what platforms are you trying to stream to?
I was going to Twitch, Facebook, and I did not do YouTube, but that was the other one I was going to.
And was it like unreliable, or did one of them not connect, or what was your experience?
It's tough to say which link in the chain actually broke.
Gotcha.
That was my experience. And like, it looked like OBS was streaming fine, because it doesn't really have any indicator of that, but it looks like I'm streaming fine, and then I'm DJing and having fun, and then all of a sudden I look over at the computer, I'm like, oh, my stream's down, great.
Yeah, it's been funny. Like I've never gotten so many phone calls and text messages and FaceTimes asking questions about like, how do I get good audio to my computer or to my phone for a live stream, and like, what cameras do you recommend? And like, it's come up so many times, like more than ever in the history of Passionate DJ. It's come up in the past month or so, and it's been pretty fascinating to watch. And it's
been funny because Gina has been poking me, because she keeps saying, for all the phone calls you keep getting on this, you could be charging like a consultant rate or something.
That's right. Yeah, and it's been interesting too. I'm sure you guys have noticed it's almost like a DJ traffic jam out there where it's like I can't decide when to put a stream live because I feel like I'm stepping on 5 of my buddies every time I do it, which is kind of an amazing problem to have.
I felt like that with Trip. Trip started a stream like to the minute, right when Kim and I were starting a stream, and I was even like, Kim, should we make like it? Because I was like, I don't think Trip has streamed yet. It was early in the quarantine, so I was like, should we maybe wait? And she was like, no, fuck it. No, I'm just kidding. But she was like, oh, no, let's go, whatever. We're all doing it,
Yeah, cool. No, I think the same way. Like, I mean, it's impossible to coordinate everyone unless you get a group of people to purposefully coordinate. So, yeah, that I don't check to see who's playing. I just hit the gas and go. The only thing that I have participated in recently was a coordinated Zoom event. So exactly what we're doing here, but everybody was on here. Everybody was muted except for the DJ who was playing. And then they had like time slots and the whole 9 yards. It was a really cool experience.
I knew this was a pitch meeting. This is Trip's pitch. He's like,
I'm actually scheduled to do that very thing this weekend.
Yeah. It was a really good time. At its peak, I think we had like 50 or so people in there.
That's dope.
Oh yeah, and throughout the night, they probably had I don't know. I wasn't really keeping count, but I mean, it was a good amount of people through the night. So I mean, yeah, it was a total blast. And then I actually stayed on until probably 1 or 1:30 in the morning before finally calling it a night. So yeah, it was really cool.
It's been kind of great to be able to see a stream pop up in my feed and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to tune into that for a while and like put it up on my second screen or whatever, and then I just leave it up while I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and then like by the time that's over, there's another friend and I bring that up, and it's like I feel like I've been stuck in this weird virtual festival for the past month, but it's kind of awesome in a way. It's like we're all doing it. This is the best we can do, so fuck it, let's go.
Actually, that's interesting. Because do you think like that will persist when we reopen?
I've been wondering that quite a bit. I was going to see if anybody had any thoughts on that. I think to some degree.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I want to hear what Tony would say about that, because I feel like he would probably know, at least have an opinion on that. Would streaming parties, the way we've had to do them now, potentially persist when we reopen?
That's a good question that I really have no idea about.
I'm an idiot.
I don't know. Honestly,
if I can venture into
I'm
that,
being told. I mean, Donnie didn't say much, but what I'm being told right now from some of our sound companies, AEG and Live Nation aren't even taking any tours until fall of 2021.
Damn.
Whoa.
And if that's the case, I mean, it could be that way with any mass type of gathering. But right now, we're all up in the air, just like Donnie said. I had no idea. But you had, before all this started, you had who was it? Marshmello? Was it Marshmello? He did the Fortnite thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Did a mass amount of numbers. You know what I mean? So this could just dip everybody's toes into that world to learn how to do it and start moving into that direction, just in case something like this is to happen again.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that because we've sort of been forced into, addressing something as DJs that maybe we could have not addressed before, like how do I fix my sound, how do I get decent lighting in here, whatever the sticking point was. We're all figuring that shit out now, and so I don't see us all just taking that knowledge and being like, oh, finally I can go out, and then not doing anything with that ever again. So I imagine there's going to be, if nothing else, at least an increase in the quality of people's streams, which I'm all for.
We should do a passionate DJ virtual fest.
Yeah, we've been talking about it, and it was kind of cool to see the like the thing you were talking about, Trip, the virtual Zoom way of doing that, because that was kind of the method we had talked about doing, and so I kind of wanted to see somebody else do it and see how it went for them, and it seems like it's been going well. So I know there's one little thing where you have to make sure I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but in the top of our window, there's like a turn on original sound button, and you want to make sure that that's enabled so that it doesn't try to like noise cancel your music and squash the sound and stuff like that. So, making sure that all those little things are worked out before we do it. But I think we're pretty much ready to do that as long as we can tell everybody how to set their audio source and levels and all that.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the only thing that the organizer had done prior to was, hey, we're going to do a sound check that afternoon, and everybody needs to go in, make sure that all of your audio settings are set just as so and all of that stuff. So, all of that really went off the hook. I mean, everybody it sounded pretty darn good for going, over the internet. So it was definitely a lot better than like the old school Yahoo chat rooms and stuff of the late 90s, early 2000s. So, Will, you were going to bounce in there for a minute. What did you have?
It was a while back. I was just going to agree with Brandon as well. As like I was kind of recalcitrant to stream because everybody was doing it. Like I couldn't see the weather without running into somebody's stream. Like and there were bad ones, like guys facing the wall, strange camera angles, poor sound, and so I kind of waited until I could get the sound that I wanted and the camera angle that I wanted to do that. And then just to tag on to when do you think after we get back to normal, the streaming will continue or not? I honestly believe that the streaming will die off quite substantially. I think that people will continue. Some people who have invested into great sets, like most green screen and great sound, great interfaces. I think some of those things, certainly the paid streams will continue, but the essence of what we do is really hard to be felt through the average person's home sound. I mean, there's a reason that you go not only to the club, but you go get in front of the speaker. There's a reason that the guys bring so many lights out to the stage, and it's really hard to replicate that with the stream. Not only on our end as content producers, but unless you got a 95-inch TV over there, and a great sound system connected to it, the experience that you're going to get from a club, it's going to be really hard to substitute that.
That's a great point, because we're taking a big part of this out of our control. We don't have any control over the volume or how much bass there is, or the progression of the little things like how much you turn it up over the night and how many people are in the room with you and the mood of other people around. You have no say in any of that anymore, and that's an interesting quote unquote new struggle that we have to deal with. It's like, okay, we're throwing a virtual festival, but also half these people are like playing Animal Crossing at the same time. So like, what are we doing here, and how much attention are people paying? And it's kind of fascinating.
I kind of want to pop in on two things. What Will just said, like, first, like, I would love to hear like a stream like night of Will or Brandon. Like, Will is one of my favorite DJs, and B-Funk, like, I haven't heard him in like 10 years, and I was just like amazed, right? I don't like, so I'm inclined to be like, I don't care what you want. I want to hear you, right? So that's one. And then two, and maybe Mark can pop in on this one, is about OBS, where you do have control over the sound that you want to do. Kim and I had to do extent a lot of stuff, because and a lot of it is
like 2 days to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, and it does take a while because it's streaming, and that shit ain't perfected or anything, but like it took us a while, but like we're okay with the sound that we have now because it's like it's the best it's going to be. But I mean, once you get that direct in, and then you use OBS tools to get your levels just right. And I mean, Mark's definitely going to know more about that than I am if you guys are interested. But like, if that's your problem, get with OBS and do it, because like I would love to hear the both of you. If the both of you are not like, oh, we don't want to stream because everyone else is doing it. Right, but you guys aren't, and we would love to hear you. That would be awesome, because our weekends are filled with just sitting here playing categories and Taboo and drinking and then just putting on a live stream for 6 hours, So, but I mean, again, like I said, about the levels, Mark would know more about that. But as far as you two go, you two especially, like I would love to hear you guys.
There's a lot of people streaming right now, but nobody's mad about it.
Right.
I was kind of mad because some people were doing it at the same time as other people I wanted to see. So I was like fake mad.
I'm sorry, Trip. I'm sorry.
The really cool part about that is, mad, but fake mad. But, and back to what you were saying, David, about like having everybody on a Zoom call like that. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten private messages and stuff like that from people who haven't been to a club in forever, who probably haven't seen me since I played trance back in the early 2000s. Just people who were they were in the scene, or maybe they've been out, or maybe they just haven't gone out in a while, whatever. Just being able to jump on, play something, they get to see me. They don't have to go out to a club. They don't have to do all of that. The Zoom calls, there's a chat window that comes with this software. So it was like a digital mingling that you don't have to sit there and constantly say, huh? It's all right there. Everybody is able to chat and talk. And it's just been such a unifying experience. Everybody's had nothing but good things to say.
It is. It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun. A lot of positivity.
I wouldn't overthink it. I think, a lot of us, because we're DJs, we sit here and judge because we're DJs, and we judge DJs. But most of these normal people and all your normal friends, they love it. They don't care about the camera angle. They don't care about, the mixing and stuff like that. Just get on and, throw those vibes out, and all these normal people are catching it.
Yeah, I've been noticing a lot of non-DJs enjoying my streams, which is new.
That's good. That's new blood.
Yep. Yeah, people, taking the time to share it and stuff. Oh, look, my friends, they're just like, hey, look, this is what this person's doing to spend their time right now. And so kind of to your guys' point, there's this feeling of togetherness and working together, I guess, and understanding that, hey, this is what we're all doing right now, and we're all doing the best that we can.
One person that got me away from the camera angle is watching John Digweed, because if you watch his live cast, it's just a camera of his hands.
On his hands, yeah.
Yep.
And that's it.
Watching him too, yeah.
Kind of feeding off of the worrying about doing streams at the same time everybody else is doing. We all have our own networks outside of the club and DJ world and people that go to parties. So there could be 50, 100 people that are on my friends list or whatever that want to see, or that will see, that you, Matt or Fatty, or nobody's going to have to worry about. You know what I mean? So don't worry about bumping heads by any means.
How do you know it's digweed?
Technically you do. I guess you don't. But
How did you
heard him talk?
He's right, though. It really is just his hands on those ducks.
Because the wall of records the size of
your wall of records.
Great Wall of China.
Right.
It could just be any random trance head. He's right. How do we know?
No, that man's voice.
Kim and Will's point about the virtual festivals. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, Insomniac did a virtual rave-a-thon a couple weeks ago, and they did a really good job setting up lights and LED walls and everything, and just the post-production stuff that they were doing, throwing visuals up there. It was solid, man. I just had that stuff running constantly. I've watched a few of them over again, just kind of playing them in the background as I'm working. But I think when it comes to the gold standard for what these virtual festivals could look like, they did a bang ass job of that stuff.
Just want to tack on to what you're saying. If it's really well produced, I could see it catching on in a very slow way, the same way silent discos have kind of started to come into their own, where, is a silent disco going to take over a regular disco? Probably not. But is there a market for it? Absolutely. Is there a way to pull it off successfully? Absolutely. And I think that really well-produced streams will hit that same niche and satisfy a group of people that didn't even know they were out there, where you can bring DJs together from all over the world, not on flights, but on, high-speed internet. So
yeah, if I had the opportunity where I could pay some extra money and I refine my home audio system and was able to pay for a high quality stream of a DJ that I want to see, I would pay money to see that, in the comfort of my own home, on my couch, just banging away. And there's a certain segment of the population that's willing to do that. But also, don't get me wrong, if they're playing at Mask or they're playing out at Numberfest or something, yeah, I'm driving my ass down there. But if it's somebody I'm never going to see, who's only going to LA, New York, Miami, Chicago, stuff like that, yeah, I'll probably dig out.
That's exactly what I was talking about, Mo. I was talking about this like 3 weeks ago with Kim. I was like, do you think, like when I said, would this persist through the quarantine, is like, would like high level DJs at a certain point charge a lower fee to throw a party remotely at a club, but play their own music, but the club has to be outfitted appropriately with like a TV and a sound system and like some sort of stable connection because, we just got Firewire, So if that was like in the mix, would that be a new market? Because it's essentially a new market. I mean, it's just not existing yet. It's only existing now because we're all stuck here, But everyone's doing it.
Jump in on that real quick. I think John First and Shield did a show down here in Covington, and they had a digital event that you could pay to attend. So,
and I would do that.
Already happening, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I also imagine that as we continue to develop VR, that'll be more and more of a thing. Charging for a virtual ticket for a virtual event.
Baby steps, David. Whoa.
From like in a parallel setting, there's been times where I've paid, like in the military, they would pay for us to go to these virtual leadership conferences where they would pipe in a live stream to a room while the conference was taking place in Dallas or Chicago or whatever. And, we still get the information. Yeah, I'm not there, front row center, but still being able to participate in the message that was being delivered. I kind of feel like there's a certain segment of the population that would totally dig that. Brandon, I know you got something to say about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny you guys were talking about this. I was actually approached by a group, maybe it's been 6-7 years ago, that was doing this. Basically what their whole thing, I got to find in my email, but their whole pitch was bringing large shows to, what I like to call is flyover towns in a flyover state, and so what they would do is stream a DJ, so like TJR to 4 different venues. So you would go in and that person would be on a giant screen and they would be somewhere. It never really took off. I think, video wasn't, people were using YouTube and everything like that, but it's been out there for a while. People have that idea. But what I think is I don't think streaming is going to be, I think it's going to be a huge dip like Will was talking about when we're able to go back to shows. But if there's a way, kind of like, we were talking about silent disco, to make it different. We've talked about all our friends who either never go to a club, but they're watching this. What is it about that stream that's different? Because, right now the streams are, let's recreate what's happening at the show. We'll have some cool visuals. And, what Mo's talking about, definitely watch TJR at that Reacted. He did a 29-minute full rave. It was amazing. He's changed his whole bounce sound. He played Dominator by Human Resource. Anyway, but it's about creating that different experience. One of the things that it's come out of this whole stay-at-home order, or if you guys have been watching those for the hip-hop fans, those beat producer battles, Little John and T-Pain. I just watched DJ Premier versus RZA. I don't know why we didn't do this 10 years ago, but they're awesome. The audio sucked, but just being in there with a bunch of people, if you watch the beginning of that DJ Premier RZA one, literally everybody's on there just checked in. Dougie Fresh, they're just going down the list, and like that experience to me, just as a music fan, was amazing. Just knowing that all of my heroes are in there just watching the same feed I am, and going to a show, you wouldn't have that. I saw Wu-Tang at Movement, no, I don't know. Maybe some producers were in the crowd, but I didn't know, but like if I watch them online, it's all these people and they're saying dope stuff, and Premier's giving shout outs to, all these people. So I think creating that new experience, there'll be a bigger crowd, but I really think it's just going to drop off because people want that. You want that crushing bass, the experience of maybe meeting your hero. That's something I think you just can't get through a stream. If you can't physically get there, I get that.
If you spend like a couple $1,000s and you already have this massive production to maybe tap into another revenue stream, if it makes you a couple bucks.
I think it's pretty interesting too that you bring up this I've spent a lot of time thinking about what does the future of our sort of DJ event thing look like. Do we keep doing these virtual events? Do we go back to the normal way of going out and stuff? I've thought about a lot of those, those things separately, but not sort of the hybrid thing that you're talking about, where it's like, okay, what happens if we have like 100 people in a room and they're watching a giant screen where a DJ's playing, and maybe there's 5 different venues or 5 different rooms where this is happening. And that would have sounded weird not too long ago. I wonder if that's not weird anymore. Mega churches already do this. People get together to watch sporting events in this way. They go to the sports bar or whatever, they get together and they watch it on the big screen. I almost wonder if there's some hybrid version of that going forward that we're going to see too. I hadn't really thought about that before.
I've heard like a lot of people are like putting on different streams in different rooms of their houses, and like, it's almost like going to a festival or something like that.
It's the chill out room over here. And
yeah. So, I mean, I'm interested to see if, once we open up, if venues will do something like that, just have a different stream in a different room.
Hey, Tony, you need to hook up with your connected sub pack, man. Make this happen.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I still have mine chilling. Those things are amazing. Yeah, I've always said to use those with silent disco. That would be, give a pack every time.
That's the subwoofer backpack combination?
Yeah. I got the original one that came with Richie Houghton's, Plastic Man's second album that he put out. It came with the original sub pack.
Nice.
The first time I experienced a sub pack, I think it was at Movement in Detroit, but it was somewhere like that, and they had it was like a silent disco set up in the middle of the festival, and you could go in and you sort of like rented, where you checked out one of the backpacks and put it on and put on a set of headphones, and it was really neat. Mike Donovan, how you doing, buddy? You've been on mute for a little while. You still alive over there?
There I am.
Hey.
Right. So I'm going to kind of like, if you don't mind, I finally figured out how to see everyone, and there are so many people here. I've not seen Jesse in years, and it took social distancing for me to actually see him.
By all means.
You mean Fatty Lumpkin.
That's correct. Anyway, a couple things. I wrote down some notes, some things I want to hit real quick. Fresh List is amazing. I played it. Probably your last one. Was your last one February, Mark?
That was our last one, and you crushed it. It was so good.
No, that night was amazing, and I get done playing, and I'm like, "Oh, Mark, this was so much fun." And I'm like, "Man, I smell pizza." And he's like, "Yeah, there's a oven upstairs." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go get pizza." So I got done DJing, walked upstairs, got in line, got pizza with all my friends. It was awesome. But Fresh List is amazing, and it makes me think about like how many good promoters we have in Ohio. Like Mark is amazing. I like those Golden Pony guys in Cincinnati. I like Chris Nelson. Columbus has a lot. Dayton has, I don't know where we are right now in Dayton, but man, Ohio has some really good. Ohio has some really good people to play for, and this kind of like I hope people see that during that time. I hope they miss this during this time. Like I hope they're thinking, well, Fresh List is a good show, man. I gotta get back to it. Like I hope this makes people miss and realize how good of promoters and the amount of work that these promoters in Ohio are doing. So, just want to give Mark and Will shout outs for Fresh List. It was amazing. And then another thing I was thinking about is, like as stupid as this sounds, like right now, if I run to like Home Depot or I run to the grocery to get essentials, I'm kind of like weirded out by people. I'm like, man, like the human in me just kind of gets uncomfortable at times. And then I think back to just when we've gone to huge events or even small club events, like how just as humans, we're beyond like viruses, like there will be a time again where the human body is like, I mean, think about when we think about social distancing right now and how it's like 6 feet apart, but then when we're clubbing, we're so close to each other. Like the human body, like has for years, been able to get us to where we can sustain that kind of lifestyle, to where we can dance right next to each other. Like we'll get there again, but it's weird. It just got me thinking, like, it's weird that, we have this distance right now, but just 4 months ago we were dancing right up next to each other, and like that's what the human body is capable of. And just silly thought I wanted to share.
I was thinking the other day about how many mosh pits I've been in the past, and how weird that would feel right now.
Correct. Yeah.
Big Puddle of Mud fan.
Yeah. Yeah, you know it. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
That's it. I think that's everything on my list. Haven't seen Jesse in a while. Fresh List is awesome. Good promoters in Ohio, and Human Body is cool.
I love that list.
Yeah, it's a great list.
Matt Freeman, good to see you, man.
Yeah, Matt, you've been quiet for a while. You're still doing okay over there?
It's freaking me out. There's too many people in my room right now.
Matt, when are you going to drop some new songs here?
I could probably do that in the next week or two. I've got some ready to go. So, yeah, I like to kind of get everybody's opinion on what I'm doing. And it makes you a little nervous to put it out there for the first time. It's like you wait, or I don't know. It's like I should have been doing this. The last thing I put out was about 20 years ago. So
I still have 2 copies of it.
Oh, cool. Let me have one of those. I got one. So yeah, it'll be good just to get some feedback. And it's kind of like I think something I question is, what does everybody do with new music when they put it out now? Do they wait, or do they get it out, and then it's going to be used on a live stream instead of in person? So what do you do right now? Like, if anybody is putting music out,
send it to me first.
Yeah, actually, you want to send that to me first, and I'll give it to Mark.
Okay. Cool. It was cool that you worked the one show, the one reunion, and your son came out.
Yeah.
And he could tell that it had a little bit different vibe, and he recognized the music from listening to it or hearing you play it, and so
yeah, my son, he'll turn 21 on Friday. Yeah, I didn't kill him.
Awesome.
But he still talks about that show to this day, just from the human aspect of it. Just he saw all these different people coming together, and I had explained to him, like, these people haven't seen each other in a year or so, some of them longer than that, and they come to this show to just be together again.
Yeah, but you hear what you just said. These people haven't seen each other for a year. So now, in every other aspect, a lot of people, who knows how long we won't all see each other, but that may help the social aspect when everybody's out now. Be more focused on the DJ, talking with each other, and getting back to kind of where it started.
Yeah, and
that'd be kind of
just
cool.
sharing time and creating memories, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that whole asylum experience. I used to party up there all the time. The boat wasn't nearly as impressive as all of the mannequins, depending on what state of mind you were in. But but yeah, no, I really do miss the asylum. That was a great venue, and your shows there were always great. Yeah.
I just miss those days, just that atmosphere, and like I said, I mean, maybe this will help get that back a little bit, because I can't imagine that energy of that first show you go to, and just seeing everybody or playing that first show. I mean, whoever, all of us that play that first show it's gonna be like, oh my God, this is crazy. Yeah. There's people in front of me, like they're really here, just that energy bouncing off each other.
Yeah, I think I have that unique experience with the asylum specifically, where I was the underager who snuck into the club because I went to high school with the bartenders, and then I would go in there and I would see just this, bald Matt Freeman. He had hair back then, but he was playing in a boat. But I saw that was me. I was like 15 to 17 years old, and I was a wallflower, and that was my first experience with music at a BPM higher than 90. This is interesting. Okay. And then I knew nobody, but yeah, that was nice. So, I don't know if your asylum reunion got canceled this year. So
coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I would think by November, hopefully everybody's able to go out. I would hope.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If not, then we'll, because we'll always do it on that Black Friday. So when everybody's in town, you get, you know, some of the old school people that are visiting to come on out and, you know, just, I don't know. It just seems like it works.
Well, yeah, you do
talk about it.
The same method where, like, when I did for Ohio Classic, I was like, okay, well, everybody's home for Christmas, but I'll do it before New Year's because then they have all their money before New Year's, so they'll come out, you know. And you're like, well, literally everyone is home for like Thanksgiving-ish season, so it's a kind of a brilliant like little model. It's a very simple one, but like that's why it's brilliant. And that's why, I don't know, is that why you do that?
Well, you know, we did try, the biggest night to go out used to be the night before Thanksgiving. Those Wednesdays.
Yeah, Wednesdays. That's the busiest night of the year.
Yeah, and we tried that with the reunion, and we got like the lowest turnout because we realized that everybody's home making turkey, you know, for the family. So it's like, oh, crap. Everybody's now in their 40s. You know, no one's coming out. So I think, Fridays work great because then you've got the grandparents that watch the kids and they get a night out and, you know, hopefully they remember what it is that day every year. They don't have to remember too hard. What day is it? You know, so.
That's one kind of interesting thing about this group is that there's a lot of people in this virtual room right now that work on events that cater towards a little bit older crowd than the typical like EDM crowd. So I'm looking at Volume and I can't really comment on Fresh List, but you guys can talk about the crowd there. But I kind of wonder, like, these kind of shows that cater to the 30 and 40 somethings when all this stuff passes, like, is it gonna kind of kill it because it's already hard to get us to come out anyway, or is it going to be like, oh, thank God, I just need to get away from the kids for one night?
I'm 46 and I'm ready to get the fuck out of this house.
For me, speaking as a parent of, you know, everywhere from 21 to 16-year-old, like that, it's on my calendar. You know, fuck Black Friday. I'm looking at that Asylum reunion joint because that's that one day I can go and I know I can hear the shit from my youth, and I know it's going to be a chill crowd, and I know the DJs are going to bring it, and then the vibe is so special that even though I wasn't there, it gives me a little bit of a sense of what it was like because I get to see the pictures, I get to see the people, I hear the music, and it's so awesome to have something like that here.
And people talk about the Asylum reunion and never even knew what the Asylum was.
Yep.
They just know about the Asylum reunion, don't even know why it's called reunion. They've heard about it. It's got a buzz on it for sure.
How's Ned's on, you know, that week? Like that Wednesday and Black Friday?
It's always crazy. Just it's always like not the typical crowd, more of like just a college pop normal crowd. It's all the cousins that come out together. You know, you got your brothers and sisters came into town, so let's go to the bar type stuff, and they want to hear the throwbacks and the sing-alongs and the
fun crowd
stuff. So yeah, I mean that's how I grew up with a bar in my hometown. It was the one night where everybody came into town. It was reunion night. So that's how Ned's always is on that night. It's just, you know, a bunch of flannel shirts and.
Yeah.
But it sucks. It sucks not doing it. You know. Yeah. Not even really the money so much as just like I'm just, you know, it's grating on your nerves to not be able to play out constantly the way that you're used to.
I was there 4 nights a week for about 7 years now. I'm like, now I'm just doing nothing. And that's what I said earlier. Like I'm able to set my turntables up at home and actually, you know, I'm actually wanting to go do the turntable rather than like, oh, I got to go to the club now. I'm super anxious and I cannot wait to get back to it. And one thing I was going to say earlier, I'm super inspired by the live stream and everything like that. Like when I've gotten in such a state of being so honed into the top 40 and what these kids want to hear all the time that I've gotten away of just, you know, I've all these songs that are just classics that I've heard it. Everybody's heard it. But now, you know, I'm so inspired to just go back and start playing all that stuff again. I'm going to start playing all that again. I'm going to start, you know, just not stay focused on what I think the kids want to hear. I'm going to party. I'm going to go and I'm going to jam out. I'm going to party. I'm going to have fun, and hopefully that vibe spreads.
Nice.
Okay.
It's actually brought me back to DJing because I mean, obviously, a bunch of you guys know I haven't
Thanks
DJ'd out. And, I haven't played out in I don't know. It's been a good few years because I've been focused more on the stage managing and the management of some artists and things like that. So I've actually been doing it again.
Hey Tony, what's your Twitch handle again?
They love the D.
Can we talk about that? So who here has like streamed? I know Fatty has. I know we have. Trip and Bitflip have. Have you guys been doing Facebook Live?
YouTube.
Yeah,
okay.
I did Facebook Live the last couple of times, but like, you know.
And you have the same problem we do where it cuts you off after about an hour because of royalties and shit.
Yeah, I'm constantly getting, it doesn't matter how underground I try to keep it. They've got a pretty decent algorithm that catches you every time. So that's why I moved over to that Restream, and then I start off at Facebook and Twitch. So then that way, if Facebook gets cut off, oh well, it gets cut off. Hopefully, people are starting to get hip to the Twitch thing. My next step is to hook up the Passionate DJ channel on YouTube. So the next time I do that, but like you said in the beginning, I've spent a lot of this time just trying to do like library management and stuff like that. So I haven't been streaming as much as I would like to, but I'm trying to prioritize all of my pet projects here before I get lost in all of them and spread myself too thin, and don't get any of it done. So
I'm using exclusively Twitch, and I just made a really highly logical choice, and that is because Twitch as a platform is for streamers, by streamers, run by streamers. Now, are they DJ people? No, they're gamers, but it has an audience as a platform. So if I can just get some of them to come subscribe to me while they're between Call of Duty and whatever else, then great. I know Mark, and he can comment on this, has been using a Restreamer, and I wanted to do that, but I decided to first avoid Facebook's huge censoring campaign. I swear they bought the first SoundCloud algorithm. They're using the hell out of that because it's biting every bit of audio it can
awful.
Has anybody checked out? I saw something today. I don't know if it's full in production, like open to the masses, but I've seen a couple of ads today about Mixcloud doing a live stream.
Yes,
platform.
I heard that.
Checked it out yet?
I haven't checked it out, but I have seen it. Our issue is reach. Obviously, my whole thing, as a lot of you guys know, has always been like mass reach, like branding and marketing really. But like we tested a few platforms and we found that like Twitch versus Facebook Live, it's like a 2,000% increase in viewership, where it's like people can just click and go away or click and stay on and do other things.
And everyone's already on Facebook. Everyone has Facebook.
And a lot of people want to comment, right? A lot of people want to like, they're all home like us. They want to just drink and get messed up and just party. Okay. And they want to comment. They want to talk shit.
That's half of it, actually. I think that's half of it. People want to comment mostly.
Yeah, and you can't do that on Twitch unless you make an account. And for some reason, still people hate making accounts, and there's no way on Twitch to set it where like guests can comment. Whereas like even on the platform we're on right now, Zoom, you don't have to make an account. You can just join, right? And then type in your username, and it's like Chapel, and it's like, okay, you just comment. Can't do that on Twitch, and people really want to comment. Now, if Twitch did do that, probably would be a lot better. But Facebook just has that much better reach. And like, for a lot of us, it's everyone's on social media, and the most of that is going to be Instagram and Facebook. So people, that's immediately in their feed, because I would think that all of us have such like at least a significantly high posting amount where the algorithm kicks in. So our posts and our shares and stuff will be at the top of people's feeds more so than, say, your local barista, I guess. Not that I'm knocking them, but you know what I'm saying, right? So they show up, and then it's like we start a stream, and 9 minutes later we have 20 people, and like, you know, Mo was saying, and even Donnie was saying, like 50 people on a stream is huge.
Yeah.
For like a local guy, right? 20 is still pretty good. We're really happy with 20, you know. So it's just, what do you use? Because now we're in this, and now this thing is becoming a phenom that could be something after this quarantine is over. But I don't think anyone has exactly taken advantage of it yet.
Yeah, it's like we have, for the first time ever, we finally have the perfect technology and setup and bandwidth for all of this, and we can't really utilize it anyway because of algorithmic takedown. It's really frustrating, and I have the same experience as you, John. It's a reach problem. I want people to see this while it's live. I want them to be able to comment on it. I want it to have
Can I chime
some.
in for 1 second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, Spinderella, Salt and Pepper's DJ, does a show every Friday night, and like she plays nonstop like R&B and hip hop classics. Never once seen her get kicked off. Like, I've noticed there's like really high profile people DJing, like Bob Sinclair's doing house streams like every other day, playing tons of stuff that would get anyone else kicked off. And I've been wondering about that. Like, are they somehow exempted because of their...
All those people, they have individual ASCAP licenses.
Okay, I wanted to know what it was. Because
Colette played her own music and she got kicked off.
Does it help to comment? I do not own the rights to this.
That doesn't do anything.
No, that's a myth. It never has. It's been shit.
I didn't think so. I didn't think that would help at all.
We've actually checked. Kim and I have checked several DJs where they're like, okay, well, let's see if they go past 55 minutes, and not a one of them has gone past an hour.
I did like a 30-minute one.
I branded
songs. It was fun. Then
one more thing. A couple of my streams, my first attempts, just to kind of like test run it, got kicked off, and I thought it was because of copyright, and it was actually because of my bit rate was too high, and I was dropping due to connectivity. And I was getting frustrated about the music I was playing, but it actually had nothing to do with that.
And you can't always tell which it is. It just drops.
To go back to John's point, like I totally understand, like with the Facebook thing, like everybody and their mom, like my parents like dial in when I'm doing my live feed.
Same.
But one ghetto hack that I found, and I told David about this about a week ago, is that I start talking now during my feed, giving shout outs to the people that are in my feed. And for some reason that disturbs the algorithm enough to where it won't shut me down in the middle of my stream. Now, maybe an hour or so later, I'll get a message saying, hey, you're so much of your feed has been taken down, but I purposely stay within that 30-minute window. So that way I don't, incur the potential to be shut down during my live feed. Now, maybe I'll go past an hour at one point and see if that makes a difference, but definitely talking somehow disturbs the algorithm. I don't know why.
And so this is kind of the tricky thing too, because I think I even commented on a text about this. It's like, because Facebook doesn't really tell you much about what's happening in the moment, a lot of times it just drops you. We're really susceptible to confirmation bias and thinking that like, oh, this was cut off because I played that Tupac song, or this was cut off.
I had like an aha moment where I finally did get kicked off because of copyright. And then it made me realize the 2 previous times I got kicked off wasn't due to copyright because I didn't get that notice. So once I got that notice, I was like, oh, if that makes sense to anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just the frustrating thing about it. It's so unreliable, and yet it's like we feel like we have to be there. And I don't have a great answer for that. That was why I was so interested in, people who are using things like Restream, if that's really working out for them. Go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, so far for the one I did yesterday, I haven't received any notices yet. So
for when it comes to the bit rate, is everybody using Wi-Fi, or is anybody like?
No, I'm using Ethernet.
Okay.
specifically, just to get the best connectivity. I have 20 up through my internet provider, which is pretty decent compared to some. But it was kind of like a trial and error with the bit rate. Like at first I started low, like around 1800 or 2000, but I have nice webcams and I wanted to get the best video quality I could. So I bumped it up to 6,000, and, I've got kids playing PS4 and 3 different iPads in my house and things like that. So that, upwards bandwidth can sometimes get clogged up. So it's still like a guessing game for me, like finding that sweet spot to where like I can get good enough video quality, but I'm not going to be at risk of getting kicked off. Because obviously your bandwidth can like wax and wane throughout the day with, traffic in your neighborhood and things like that. So you have to take that into account, doing like speed tests at different times during the day. So I'm still trying to figure it out.
And just a comment on that, Jack, you're 100% right. Hopefully the audio is better here. I had my pad on the
it was a little low.
face.
Great.
Sorry about that.
That's great.
But yeah, Jack, you're 100% right. You have to be mindful of the time of day you're streaming, what your actual services are. So I'm high speed here. And to answer a question that John and Kim put out, my first stream on Twitch was actually wireless completely, and as is this, but I also have a really robust internet connection. And on my very first stream, I downloaded a piece of software that allowed me to use my Samsung Note 8, Samsung plug, as a webcam, because the webcams were sold out everywhere and I didn't yet have the Wise Cam. So I was able to use my cell phone as a wireless camera.
That's what we
with pretty good results, actually. Now, of course, that is the Note 8, so it was a higher end camera, still a couple years old. And then I did my stream on Sunday, which is kind of a busy day, but it was in the early afternoon. So all of those things, I think, led me to, like Jack was saying, a successful stream, because I was mindful of the bit rate, my robust connection, and who would be streaming at that time of day. And I can only imagine on the weekends toward the evening, the bandwidth goes nuts. For people who are still employed, that's their time to get online. And for guys who want to stream, who have nice setups, they're going to take advantage of that prime slot as well.
So let me get this straight. So you're saying that the bit rate that you're pumping out is too high?
Yeah. If it's too high, you can risk your connection dropping.
No kidding.
Yeah, and that's because
it's overloading the system. It's overloading your bandwidth.
Right.
But what Will was saying was, you can use your cell phone. That's what we've been doing. Is we've just been plugging my cell phone and hers. OBS offers an app, for your iOS device, whatever it is. Okay, you download it. It is $15, but like that's a super cheap price for using your kind of honestly your iPhone really as just a camera, and it's fantastic. And
cheaper than a webcam.
Absolutely, it's cheaper than a webcam, and we don't have any problems. Actually, we don't have any problems at all, really. Our only problem is time, because we're just trying to keep busy.
Well, while we're on the subject of the technical difficulties of this, one thing that I make sure I keep saying, as people have been calling me, asking me questions about this is actually something we ran into when we did episode 100. So those of you who were there for that might remember.
I was on that.
Yeah. the one thing you'll run into is a lot of people I saw in the chat room, you guys were talking about that webcam that was really cheap and stuff. And I have to warn you that you don't want to just buy 10 webcams and expect them to work, because you will quickly overload your USB bus on your local machine. Usually you can't get past 2. Sometimes you can get 3 multimedia streaming devices on USB. Without doing something fancier, you're usually pretty limited to that. So don't go spend a bunch of money unless you know that you can use all that stuff. Just FYI.
Yeah, I experienced that. I bought 5 webcams.
Ouch.
And I'm supposed to come get 2, I think.
Yeah, I keep trying to keep people from jumping on and buying a bunch of stuff like that.
I got 4 hooked up. Luckily, they were luckily they were very inexpensive. But, real quick, I wanted to jump back to the platform thing, because attention is everything in this world, where we have a limited audience. So, Facebook has a whole lot of exposure. Twitch, I've found, has much less exposure, like John was saying. And then one thing I haven't tried yet, and I really want to via Restream, is Instagram. And that's one cool thing. Yeah. You can go live on Insta, and I don't know how many, I haven't messed with it yet. I don't know how successful it'll be, but there's a lot of people on Insta. So
Maddie, you've gone live, haven't you?
I didn't.
Yeah, I've gone live. It kicks you off either for multiple reasons, for the same thing, copyright, just connection. It's just random.
Same owner, Facebook.
It's same owner, yeah. But they let you go for an hour, copyright or not. I mean, I'm gonna say hour because like hour-ish. Again, Trip knows, but like they let you go. So we streamed 2 nights ago? Right. We streamed like 2 nights ago, and Kim hit go live because we were on Facebook Live, and I hit play. Within I think a minute 30, we had received Sony Music has claimed your music. And here's the thing. We don't care. I don't care because it's not about the rebroadcast. I don't care who sees it tomorrow. All I care about is now. So you don't really have to worry about that, which is interesting because they still do this thing where they're like, well, after an hour, you're done. Okay. And getting back to all that we've kind of been talking about is we've just found that even with, because we'll go all night. So we'll do 4 different broadcasts right in a row.
Or that first night that we did 8.
We did 8
30-minute ones.
And then we'll just be it's worth it though, because the viewership is right there. And I mean, I know we're not in a club or anything, but if you can not be in a club, which is the best thing, filled with people and playing to people that are visually responding to you, the best thing you can do is play remotely and have just a number on the screen, 20 people listening. And that's it, and it's that's all you have to go on now. And that was, to us, we decided that was worth it because when Kim tried Twitch, it was 2 viewers, because for us specifically, people like to talk back and forth with us, which is also very hard because we're very involved, especially since our sets of tagging. So we're stuck with Facebook, and we're dealing with the shit that it is, really, because it sucks. But
and John, just to tag on to what you said, I did find out from Twitch that no single stream can be over 48 hours. That's a really long time, but I'm sure that with a mandate like that, probably Facebook and Instagram have limited that same philosophy to 1 hour, just because their usership is much higher. And people would clog up their servers if they knew they could give out data for 48 hours straight and just stream. So they probably would do that. Yeah. Also, bring back the Ohio Classic, man. Bring it back.
And I knew you were going to bring this up.
I made a note on my phone to talk about the Ohio Classic. So
that's up to David. He's host supreme.
Oh my! So. I'm just the guy that shows up early and plays slow music.
I think just by nature, Facebook users are more patient. I think they want to tune in to a live stream. The name alone, Instagram, is just way too. I think that demographic is way too fast too.
Well, and it's all mobile.
For sure, Mike. For sure.
A few years ago, when I was doing the Ned Peppers live on Facebook, I haven't done it yet, but they would ask you. It would straight up say, your video is not. Your live has not been posted because of content, and then you went to something else, and all you had to do is click OK. So you're letting Facebook know that that the artist can take it down, or the record company can take it down, but they would let it stay posted. But as long as you said, I know that they could take it down, then it would stay posted. It would stay on. So I don't know if that's still the same way. I haven't tried Facebook yet, but it would make it look like they were going to take it down. It'd say, this is not going to be posted because, of content, this and that. But, if you read longer, it says, we're going to let the owners of this music know, and they have the choice to take it down or not. and of course they never do.
You know, this was the reason that I originally started experimenting with YouTube, was they actually made it kind of easy on you, at least more than other channels, where they have, at least up until very recently, they had a tool that was their music policies, and you could literally look up tracks and see whether or not you could play them, whether you would get demonetized for playing them, or like whatever the status was of that track of the rights holder. So you could actually do a little research and figure that out, and that's the only reason we've been able to do like pick 3 episodes like that since going to YouTube. However, they recently decided they're taking that away. So now the method is upload whatever you want to play beforehand as a private video and see if it gets taken down or not, which is a pain in the ass, but also is what support will tell you. So it's a little frustrating, but at the same time, you at least get, like, the approach that I'm taking on YouTube is like, because I'm doing different styles every time, I'm trying to get a little bit of SEO juice every time. So I'm naming like, oh, this is the house, deep house, tech house mix. Oh, this is the drum and bass liquid, and I'm making sure to use a lot of those kind of keywords in my title so that everyone is different, so that maybe every time I'll pick up 1 or 2 new viewers. And so that's kind of what I'm experimenting with right now. And it works, but it's very slow and still don't get the viewership of Facebook.
Unrelated note, what's everyone drinking?
Water, and I got to pee bad.
Coffee and water.
Coffee.
I've got a porter from Toxic.
Nice.
Hey.
Red Bull vodka, because I still drink the douche juice.
Gross.
I went with the classic water.
Florida.
I mean, I know we had a time limit on this, but I'm having a great time. I miss all of you guys so much. I can't tell you how many days on the warm days I've just gone out walking, right? And I'm in Tony's neighborhood. I'm like, are you home? No. I'm in Milan. All right. Fuck you, Uncle Tony.
Yeah, so I do want to go ahead and make sure that everybody gets like a final chance to say something here. B-Funk, we haven't heard from you in a while, buddy. You still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey. So kind of maybe leave us with something here, Brandon. Like, what do you plan on doing now that you haven't done yet with this extra time? What's your focus going to be while you're at home?
I mean, first, this is awesome. I really appreciate you guys put me on. I didn't know what it was going to be like. It's awesome to see a lot of people I do know, a lot of people I've heard of. I mean, I've heard of everybody here, but not met some people and Facebook friends and everything like that. What am I working on? I've got an open format party that I've been doing for about 3 years called Trust Me Dance Party. I love it. We're talking about, older crowds. It's definitely we have college kids there, but it's really like 30s and up because I like to play old school stuff. So I was supposed to be doing it through the summer for the first time, but that got kind of washed away. So, but really, yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this Pick 4, Mix 4. I know there's going to be haters coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, we did this, before. You're not the first. And that's not what it's about. It's really just having a fun time and really just, getting more people exposed to new stuff because we're all here. I've heard more music, I think, in the last month than I have all of last year because I'm just constantly getting hit with different feeds and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I hope I can stay connected with you guys in some way. And I just really hope that we don't get back to the same shit we were doing before. It's not like, hey, we did this for a couple months and it was crazy. We had all these crazy ideas and now we're back to the same thing of when's my show? What's the date of this? And what's that? And, not practicing as much and everything. It's really like we learn something about ourselves. So, and yeah, I mean, if any of you guys, play video games, let me know. I'm always online, having a good time on Warzone. Hit me up, Urgent Care.
What's that? What's that gamer tag?
I'm there with you.
Urgent Care.
Urgent Care? Okay.
Yeah. My dad's a doctor, and he made that many years ago. So people are like, yeah, you first responder? I'm like, no. Don't give me any credit. I'm just playing on his account. So, but yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me out here. And yeah, let's 300. Start thinking about that. What's that going to look like? Is that going to be virtual reality or, what is it going to be? So,
did you have, besides your gamer tag, did you have anything you wanted to plug? Do you have an Instagram or something that you want to share?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you can listen to the mix. All my stuff, it's Instagram, DJ B Funk, Twitter, DJ B Funk, Facebook's B Funk Official. I have a Twitch name that's actually just for watching video games, and somebody stole DJ B Funk, so I have to create something that connects to mine, so I don't have that yet. What's
DJ
it?
B Funk too.
Yeah, well, there's a DJ B Funk in Belgium and another one in Greece. They're like real like low level guys, but you know we always try and bite at the new stuff, and I've been sitting on my stuff for a while. So I did a series called This Is Open Format, where I really and I've complained about this on your guys' show before. I feel like open formats turn into this club, 4 on the floor, very formulaic style, where it's like, hey, we're going to do Bon Jovi, but we're going to re-drum it so DJs who've never DJed before can actually mix it. And what I try and do with this thing is really play like what real DJs had to do. And it's all old school. Like if you like Rick James, it's there. If you like house music, it's there. If you like Aha, it's there. So,
Fatty, do you have social media stuff to plug? Where can we see all this scratch work you've been doing? And feel free to share any final thoughts you've got, buddy.
Just post mostly on Instagram, the short little bits and recordings that I'm having fun here at home. It's really random. It's just all for fun, but I'm posting it. I've tried a couple live streams, but I'm not too much of a technical mind. So like if it just fails, I'm lost.
What's the username on Instagram?
Fatty Lumpkin. Might be Fatty _Lumpkin or Jesse 2-pair. But Fatty Lumpkin. You'll find it.
Fatty, thanks so much for being here. And
thank you.
This is it's taken us way too long to get you on the show. I would love to have you back for like a proper full show if you're down, buddy.
Definitely down for sure. Yes.
Mr. Shifter.
I could talk with you guys all night.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us your final thoughts and where we can listen to your music, because the Passionate DJ podcast audience needs to hear your music if they haven't already.
So I've gotten pretty lucky. Not a lot of people copy my name. So Instagram, SoundCloud, Facebook is everything / Mr. Shifter. But Twitch, there's a damn Mr. Shifter. So I had to do Mr. Shifter official.
Mister spelled out, right?
Yeah, no MR. So Mister Shifter. I haven't really done a whole lot of new like mixes or stuff lately, which is kind of unlike me. But like when I do a mix, I kind of like really nerd out on it, and it takes me a long time to bust it out. So I did like a Funk 45 one a while, like sometime last year. That took me a lot of time to compile. That one I really like. It's up on my SoundCloud. But I want to do, I'm kind of working on a disco one right now. I've been buying disco 45s like by the dozens.
Nice.
So like I'm so all over the place musically. It's just not even funny. But like I'm on a really, really, really big disco kick right now. So I want to put together a mix of that stuff sometime soon. So hopefully in the next few weeks.
Well, definitely look forward to that, because you're not just saying that. I mean, when you take the time to put together a mix, it's clear that you really take the time to like you research it and you put your heart and soul into it, and you're like, this is a standalone piece that exists, under whatever theme. And
it usually takes me like 2 weeks or so. Like I'll get an Ableton and like make my own edits. Like I really, really nerd out on it, and I want every transition to be exactly how I want. Like I really wish I could be a DJ that just hits record and like just goes off the cuff. And I just like I do that when I DJ live, and I never play a gig like with any kind of preconceived track list or anything like that. But when I make a mix, I really want to like conceptualize it and make it exactly how I want. So unfortunately I'd like get really OCD with it, and it takes me forever to do them. But I'm always like really happy once I finish them. So I guess it's worth it in that sense. And then, but I'm wanting to stream. Like I talked to you about this a while ago. Like I am really like gun shy about streaming, and I can't figure out why. So like I went out and bought 2 webcams. I've got everything set up exactly how I want. I've got my graphic overlays, and it's so weird. Like I really haven't like started streaming yet, because like I just have like this crazy butterflies in my stomach.
More nervous than 500 people every time.
Like like I can play in front of 2,000 people and just like not blink an eye, but like there's something about being alone in my room and like having a camera on me that really is tripping me out right now. So I'm just going to have to kind of get over it.
I think that's probably because it's an intimate thing. Like you're not like people aren't there in the room with you, but you're letting them into your personal space.
Yeah, do it, Jack. It's elevating. I mean, we never did it, and then we did it because what do we know? And then it's elevating.
It feels like my first DJ gigs, like back in the late 90s, where I kind of had to get over this. You know, you kind of had to cut your teeth and like, you know, make mistakes and like screw up and get over that. And like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to have to get over that because I don't, you know, like when it's sometimes like if I just mix in my studio here or whatever, like just off the cuff, like I'll have mixes that are just like, whoa, like, you know, where I'm just like, you know, just playing off the cuff and like certain tracks just like don't go together well or whatever. And maybe that's just like the DJ in me where I nitpick everything and I notice every little mistake, where most people at a club, like you can clang it up a little bit and people don't blink an eye. But like, I just like, if I'm going to mix in my studio and broadcast it to people, like I'm worried about like just having those moments. And again, I'm just going to like in a club and stuff, people are like distracted or whatever. But I feel like if someone's like sitting at their computer watching you and like, you know, they're just like listening to every single little thing, like it just trips me out. And I'm just such a perfectionist that I just like, it's freaking me out and I'm just going to have to get over it. And
the trick is realizing they're at least as distracted as those people in the club.
That's true. I didn't really, you know, I haven't really thought that way, but that's absolutely true.
Jack, you're your own worst enemy, Jack.
Oh, I'm the worst. I'm the absolute worst when it comes to that. Like every gig I walk off stage, I'm like, that second is terrible.
My wife has a great line that she tells our kids, like if they're like scared, she always says, do it scared. Do it the way you're feeling. Do it that way, Jack. Go into it with that apprehension or that with those reservations, like do it that way, man. I'd love to.
Hopefully this week, like I've been doing a lot of prep work and things like that. And the other thing too is like I'm into so many different types of music. Like people are like, oh, I'll do a drum and bass stream, do a hip hop stream, do a funk stream. And I'm just like, I don't know where to start. So I'm just going to have to like do a couple, like we talked about earlier with like doing little bite-sized ones. Maybe that will be a way for me to kind of like dip my toes in the water, just do like a little 30-minute session and not like have to feel so, you know, where it's so daunting where I have to play like an hour and a half or something like that.
Highly recommend. It's been really helpful for me to do that.
Yeah. So anyways, keep an eye on my, you know, I'll probably be doing it on Twitch and on Facebook. And I'd like to try to do them a couple times a week, just so hopefully you'll see them start popping up once I get over my apprehension.
Thanks so much, Jack. It's good to hear from you, buddy.
Thank you.
Ron Chorple.
That's me, I think. Just to get at what Jack said, like, don't be afraid. Like we said, just getting out there and doing the stream, like you wouldn't think it's therapeutic, and it just ends up being like, specifically with what you said, you're like, oh, it's scary being in front of people, but not being in front of people. I super get it. And I think you do too. Like, it sucks playing to an empty crowd, but you're kind of not, right? You're kind of playing to yourself. And even if there's 5 people, which is conceivably nobody listening, or as far as streaming goes, 20 people, which is actually a lot of people listening, it's fun either way. You're kind of getting back to a position where you were when it was just you in your basement, just being like, I like this music and I want to see what I can do with it. And it's really fun. And I feel like I glossed over it earlier when I said kicking off the rust, but like, I cannot stress that enough. I really think it is just kicking off rust. I've been so rusty, and you know, Kim's been a big supporter of that. She's like, man, I like seeing you do this stuff, and you're the one being like, let's stream, and it's cool, it's fun. I'm getting back into it.
I mean, I think that you know, like there will be trip ups and, you know, whatever. But I think that doing that live or having those things happen live adds that like human element that like, oh, this is live because I did mess up.
You're getting feedback in the immediacy that is not intrusive to your set. Whereas normally you're used to, if you were getting this feedback that we're getting, you know, through the internet, through Facebook Live or what have you, if you're getting that, it's through some 19-year-old drunk asshole who, you know, wants to hear a song because she can't get laid tonight because her boyfriend wants to hear the song. So this is just like, hey, this, and it's we're all low key, kind of, you know, but not. But it's
I'd like to see us in this element. They're used to seeing us in performance mode, you know, with a thought out set. They're not used to seeing us at home fumbling through songs, figuring out stuff. And that some people kind of like to see that. That's what I like to see. I like to see these OGs, like when RZA and Premier were in that battle. That was like magic to me. Watching these two guys play their songs, like I'm excited to see after the quarantine, like not as a live feed, but what that sort of format's going to be like when they're going to put that on TV. Like, you know, I want to see that on a stage where they do that exact same thing on a stage. So I'm excited to see where that goes once we are back to normal.
Me too, for sure.
But yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, just go on, hit live and just start hitting play, and people will watch and enjoy that, and like try not to think that, oh, I have to sit here and plan out a set for my live tonight. Just, you know, just go hit play, and people like seeing us in this our natural environment per se.
Everybody in here knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Just do it for you, but just do it live.
Yeah.
Right, but if I'm going to wrap up my thing, I'll say, okay, Will, I'll do one more Ohio Classic. All right. All right, Will. Yes. All right. But here's the thing. Tony's running it. Tony's booking it. It's all Tony. That's it. Because I'm not. Like, see him shaking his head. It's heavy. It was heavy. Tony has never blamed me for being like, I'm going to take 5 years off.
I'll help you out, John.
Okay. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Dad. But I don't know if I got to plug anything. I don't know. Just, I guess, my Insta, it's Hey Chap Chap. That's it. I just want to plug Passionate DJ because we're doing 200 episodes. This is kind of cool. You know, we got fucking everyone here I've worked with. This is great. You guys are all great. I super miss all you guys.
Thank you.
I've just, man, I'm just seeing all your faces here on this screen because we have it all in a grid here where we can see all of you. All right. And I miss all you guys. I just want to play again with all you guys. But I think if I had any message tonight, it would be like, if the quarantine, just as, because you know me, I'm all about new blood. If you're like some young kid listening to this and you like, oh, I want to DJ, but I don't know what it is about. I don't know how to do it. Just, I mean, 20 years from now, this is what it is, man. It's like solid friendships and you know, network for future careers. That's great too. But like, I just miss all you guys. And all I really want to do is I want to reconfigure myself and just play again with all you guys. By the way, I don't want to say that my time was included with Kim. You can ask Kim about hers.
Yeah, please, Kim, share us anything you'd like to plug and any final thoughts that you've got.
I mean, my socials are I am Kim L. My Facebook is not, but that's fine. I don't know. I mean, I think now is a good time for people, especially with all of the live streams going on, for people to just kind of like dip around and, you know, experiment and, you know, try different tastes in music and things like that. I don't know. I mean, I think that now's a great time to jump into Passion. and, you know, interests and, you know, things that you have put off or, you know, I don't know. I mean, especially for me, like with producing and stuff, I've been talking about it for so long, and now it was the perfect time to jump in with having so much time to do literally nothing but that. So
yeah, that's so legit though. I mean, trying to focus on sharpening those skills that you didn't have time for, that's so good. And, you know, I've been DJing a lot more and kicking the rust off for real. Like, that's been nice. You know, getting a little bit more into production, but more like beat focused on the sampler here, and just like having fun learning things that I've had around for a while that I haven't really gotten to sharpen myself on. And Fatty, real quick, I don't know if you've messed with the reloop spin, but this little portable turntable.
Yeah, those are cool.
Anywhere, dude. Little 7-inch turntable, so fun, and it tracks well.
Edge has one, and yeah, it's a blast. I need to get one. I mean, every turntablist should have one of those. I just haven't got around to grabbing one of those.
Is it a lot better than the Newmark PTO1?
It's so key.
I have not messed with the PTO1, but I literally just got this today because John Blaze came over with it a while ago. You know, throw the batteries in it, little Bluetooth speaker and a looper on your phone. You can Bluetooth to it and just cut. It is dope.
I see guys taking them out to the mountain and just, you know,
anywhere
up on a rock by the river and just scratching. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And Mark, did you have something that you wanted to plug with the audience?
Yeah, for sure. So all my personal socials are DJ Bitflip. That's BITFLIP. And then the Freshlist socials are either Freshlist Cincy, and that's Freshlist CINCI. Unfortunately, Freshlist was taken by a fresh produce delivery company.
Awesome.
So yeah, there's a lot of pictures of purple carrots and
fresh bananas.
And emails that are sent to us thanking us for this fresh food delivery.
But yeah, those are my socials, Freshlist socials. Really, this was a great experience. This is like just a blast to catch up with everybody.
For sure.
Meet some people for the first time. So, you know, keep doing the Passionate DJ thing. It's always been just a great experience for people to learn and, yeah, and really use this time to sharpen your skills as much as you can, or improve on yourself even if you're not a DJ, you know.
Or, I mean, if anybody has questions, you know, everybody else is just as bored as you are, you know, reach out to some people.
Now's the time.
PassionateDJ.com/community. It'll bring you right to the Facebook group. There'll be plenty of people willing to help you out. Mr. Matt Freeman, are you still there?
I'm here.
Awesome.
So to plug some social media, Instagram, I just started a new page just for music. It's this DJ Matt Freeman. And then I do have a SoundCloud, and that's just Matt Freeman. And I think right now I'm just going to keep focusing on the production and probably maybe tackle the anxiety of live streaming because, you know, say, you know, Tony has Paul Oakenfold out. I can follow Paul Oakenfold no problem for a full room, and then hit a record on a live stream, and it's like, what do I do? So yeah, I think I just want to tackle that whole. Yeah, we'll do an Asylum live stream, and we'll see how that goes, and hopefully I don't just freeze up.
It's so interesting to see the recurring theme of that, because I know exactly what you guys are talking about, because I've like the first time that I went live to do a mix in a long time, like I literally, like I felt my hands like shaking, and I'm like trying to use the mixer. I'm like, what am I nervous about? Like literally nobody is here. Like what am I worried about?
It's like the first time
I did that with Matt Freeman.
What did you say?
I said I did that with you, with Matt Freeman on our 90th night, where I was like, I do not know how to make things. But go on, go on.
No, so yeah, just tackle that whole, you know, fear of live stream, just that weird pressure. I don't know where that comes from, but just be good to understand that and kind of get that to go away a little bit.
Yeah, we're all being sort of forced to address it all at once. It's kind of fascinating.
It's perfect time though. So,
Matt, thank you so much for being here, buddy. It's been too long, and we miss you.
Guys, good to see everybody.
Mike Donovan, I know you haven't been really active as a DJ lately, but do you have anything to plug? And if not, do you have any final thoughts to share with the audience?
As weird as this may sound, I'm actually taking a break from social media for a while, just because reading so many different things, and I can like mute certain people, but why go through all that work? I'm just going to kind of distance myself socially on that for a while. But in terms of DJing, I DJ out when I DJ out. Like I don't practice, so like I pretty much play like 5 to 10 times a year, and that's it. So really nothing is different there. So as far as this whole experience, it's kind of made me recalibrate some things a little bit, like make sure that I'm really in tune with my home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the things that are going on with my wife and kids. Like it's, I don't want to sound overly hokey, and I know that there are some of us that are kind of in the same situation as me with married children. I just want to make sure that I'm not wasting this time. Like when we do go back to what we think are normal, I want to look back and say, did I waste it? Did I just sit around and do nothing? My wife, she likes to remind me of projects that I have to do around here, so I'm getting those projects done. I'm running 4 to 5 miles a day. I'm on a new workout program and trying to eat a little differently, but there's just, I don't want to waste this time. Like, I haven't been bored yet, and that's important to me. So it's just, I'm trying to make the best of it. And I told this to my wife the other day, that I consider myself a leader of our home. Like I lead the home, but my wife, I've learned, certainly runs our home. Like this thing cannot, like as much as the things I do for our home, me being home 9 to 5 made me realize kind of like, man, I'm in their way. Like I'm in my wife and kids' way. They run this thing. I paid for that peanut butter, but I'm learning I keep putting it in the wrong spot because she reminds me that she runs it. But yeah, it's just really made me kind of recalibrate a lot of things. I know that really has nothing to do with music, but I buy a lot of music, listen to a lot of music, so I'm not skipping a beat with that. But it's really allowed me to kind of resharpen, I think, hopefully, and I want to come out of this and not think that I've wasted any time.
Well, Mike, I want to throw you under the bus real quick while I've got you. Do you have a music recommendation for me? Because I always look forward to seeing what you're listening to.
Outside of dance music, my favorite albums right now are the new Tame Impala and the new Bombay Bicycle Club. So give that stuff a listen if you like that. But I was in the middle of booking another Volume Deep when this hit. So we've
killing me.
It would have been much smaller. Would have been something for an old friend, and I'll go ahead and say it. Very few of you will know him, but his name is Matt Bandy, and he's from from like the Kentucky area, but now he lives in London and runs a massively successful house label called No Fuss, and they just we were working. He was going to do a small tour, and he was going to I was going to pick it up, but it fell through. So next time.
Yeah, we're going to keep our eyes open for the future of Volume, man. I feel like it's always out there just teasing me, just waiting for the next announcement. So I hope that or another similar show works out sometime in the future once we're all able to hang out and be buddies again.
I'm sure that it'll circle back. And while I've got everyone on here, I look at this screen, and there's so many talented people. Tony DeSaro introduced me to turntables, and I cannot believe that. Gosh, that was 96. And I can't believe that we're here right now doing this. Jack's a very dear friend of mine. I've known Matt Freeman for years. Jesse, I've known for a long time. It's just kind of cool. Trip, John Chappell's a dork. So it's kind of funny that we're here doing this. So I appreciate you all, and hang in there. You're all super talented, and we'll get through this.
Thanks so much, man. It's great to have you as part of this. Wouldn't have been the same without you, and we appreciate it.
All right.
And FIRECAT, you've been extremely patient. Will, thank you so much for waiting, and tell us what you have to plug and any final thoughts you've got, buddy.
Oh, first of all, thank you. Thank all of you. for being here. And congratulations on your 200th episode. That's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely amazing. Glad I could be part of it. And I look forward to getting, once the social distancing is put aside, getting back into the studio and doing a live episode with you guys, because it's absolutely hilarious. It is it's a great time always. So kudos to you guys, and thank you for having all of us out here. And then kudos to each and every one of my co-hosts and guests that are here. Fatty Lumpkin, super good to see you. I haven't seen you in forever, Fatty. So what's up on that?
You too,
Jack,
sir.
Mr. Shifter, always love your work and what you do. John, I already talked to you about the Ohio Classic, so don't make me say it again, all right?
I love you.
And then Kim, I had a question for you. Why did you choose Logic? Because I remember when I moved from Sony Acid Pro, and I was kind of like, is it going to be Logic or is it going to be Ableton? And I wound up in the Ableton. So why did you choose Logic?
I didn't really have too much to go off of. It wasn't like I was coming from anything.
Okay.
I actually work for Apple, so we get Logic for free.
Well, that is like a great reason.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start there and see what happens.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I was just wondering, as soon as you said Logic, I'm like, now why would she have done that? Because Logic is an incredible piece of software, but it is immense. It can be scaled up to, Hollywood sound stages. So I'm like, that's a crazy first step.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know any different, so this is just where I'm starting.
Good, master it. Tell me how to use it.
I've had pretty much everyone tell me that I should get Ableton, so I don't know.
I think that's just like cross compatibility. If you go to collaborate with people, you have so many people who have Ableton that you're likely to run into another user. Like when I'm working with Trip.
I think we're on another episode here.
Yeah, right. And I don't want to do that because I did that on episode 130 and 131, I believe. Social media, I think you guys already know. It's all the same everywhere across every platform. It's FIRECAT 451 Live. So just whatever.com or .net and then stick / and live behind it. FIRECAT 451 Live. And you got it. Of course, also plugging out the list. The list. Yeah, HouseCat doesn't actually have any social media stuff because I'm really not trying to divide my fan base directly in half. I wanted to get away from having to put my genre on the flyer. FIRECAT 451 house music set or drum and bass set. That really started annoying me. Go ahead, Jack. What's up?
No, I just was like, I feel that.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us here are multi-genre, and I think Brian said it, or not Brian. Brandon said it earlier when he said that a lot of us listen to all of these different types of music, and what are you known for? And so I really got frustrated with putting that little extra bit after every flyer. So I just said, all right, here's HouseCat. That's what that was.
Hey, Will, you played after me in the tunnels a few months ago.
I did. Yeah, for the Golden Pony guys.
Yeah, that was the first time I've heard you play house music, and you impressed. I'm a house stickler, but I put you on my volume radar in the future.
Nice.
Thank you. I actually, and I think it was, I can't remember who it was, talked about doing series. So my mixes do come out in series. I have intelligent and jazzy drum and bass under Axiom. And then Marco, remember, I started off that whole idea with house music mixes called House Deluxe. And we got up to volume 4, which started to turn from house into electro, at which point I kind of cut it.
Don't forget that bullshit, though.
Yeah. The formal title of that last mix was HD4, House Deluxe 4, That Wild Bullshit. Because it had gotten from house into like breaks and electro. And it was like, okay, a house head would kill me if I put this out. But that wound up being the last bit of it. I'm proud to say I've never done a trance mix.
You're missing out. You can do it.
Yeah, I don't know if I could stay up that late. I have to wait until sunrise to hit the start button.
Fine, Trip will do it, and then we'll just we'll call and text and talk shit about you.
Forever. But once again, thank you guys all so much. I look forward to seeing you all out of quarantine and on your streams. I look forward to getting over to Mark's and getting my other 2 free camera. And Tony, once again, thank you for the personal call and shout out and a belated happy birthday. I think I said it to you already. Trip, call me and let's get this music done. And yeah, I think that's it.
Will, thanks so much, man. It's you're great to have on the microphone. So we definitely couldn't have done this show without having you here. So thanks so much, and we'll definitely get you in here both to play some tunes and to get behind the mic and tell us about what you've got going on. Thanks so much for being here, and thanks so much for the entire crew here. This is just a hell of a lineup. It's awesome to have you here. You know, John already talked about. It's just great to see all your smiling faces for once. And that's pretty awesome. I do want to go ahead and open it up to my team for some final thoughts here, because they've all been pretty quiet as we've been letting everybody get their time in here. But I do want to just extend my thanks to my team. Tony, Trip, and Mo are just awesome to work with. They really, truly make this thing happen. I want to especially thank Tony for this episode in particular, because he really has been my my right-hand man for this episode and just kind of in general lately for
Disco
getting things
Donnie.
done. Yeah, that's all.
Jesus Christ.
Yep, that's all Tony.
This is the first time we're doing this. We just glossed over this the whole night. Disco Donnie was here.
Yeah. Thanks for squaring that up, Tony. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
That was like
I
a
just want to
surprise
say,
for all of us.
I just want to say thank you to all you guys. I highly respect all of you and your craft, and that's why all of you guys are here. I have mad respect for all of you guys, and thank you. Thank you for all your time, and glad to have brought Donnie in on this as well.
We got your Twitch channel in. Anything else you want to plug?
It's just my first and last name and everything.
Yeah.
Tony DeCero.
Tony DeCero. Trip and Mo, what do you got for us?
So with Donnie being here, I didn't get to ask him, so I'll ask all of you guys. Do you think he's going to vote for Biden in the general election?
I wanted to ask him that same fucking question, bro.
I was waiting for it.
No, he's not. He's not. He's an entrepreneur. Of course he's not.
Right.
Yeah. Now I got to go look
Joe
up
Biden is the one that was trying to arrest him back in 2000.
Yeah.
I want to say thanks to every single one of you. I've either played with you, or I've played for you, or we've opened for each other, or we've gotten totally smashed, or like we've all had a really good time over the years. So it's been really great to pull this crew together, and looking forward to everything that you all are going to continue to do, and that we're all going to continue to do together. As far as me and mine, just a quick update. I was built for this. I'm pretty much a homebody. You wouldn't know that when I'm out, but I'm my wife and I, we both say that we're not all in the same boat, but we all are weathering the same storm, right? So me and my family are incredibly blessed. I've got a career that I can work from home. My wife can work from home. She focuses on our daughter while I work during the day. And so we've actually been doing pretty well, all things considered, through this. So I just wish nothing but the best for all of you guys and for everybody else listening. And I just wanted to echo the same sentiment that, from Mike earlier. It really is incredible what all happens when you're not here, right? So, shout out to my family. So, outside of that, I can't say it enough. Thank you guys. Thank you, David, Tony, and Mo, for allowing me to keep talking shit on this mic. And I love you guys.
Anytime, buddy.
Fucking
We love
mad
you.
shit.
We love you.
Bad shit.
Yeah, with the exception of 2 of you, I've had the pleasure and blessing of being able to hear all of you live. So thank you very much for the gift that you use to help, be a positive force in this world. And hopefully, Fatty and B-Funk. Yeah, I've never seen either one of you play live, but hopefully after all this is said and done, I have the opportunity And if you guys ever need any support, Tony will tell you I can lift heavy shit. I can do EMT shit, all that good stuff. So if you ever need that kind of support, I'm there for you for sure. But as far as everything that's currently going on, we're all in that same boat, just like Tripp said. But this is what it's going to take for us to get through this. Strength and courage. We're all going to get through this. We're all going to come out, and we're all going to be better people for it, and we're going to be a better country and a better planet for it. We're going to be better humans, and just be strong. Just be strong for those people right now that are struggling. Be strong for those people that might not look like they're struggling, because a lot of times your strong friends are the ones that need that pat on the back, or just to be let them know that there's someone they can talk to. So watch out for your strong friends, but be strong for them as well. So love you guys, Passionate DJ Nation. Thanks everyone for being here for all this. David, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of the show as a random stalker, who was messaging you from Qatar about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm so blessed to be here, and just thankful that I have a family of people that love music as much as I do. And just, thank you all so much for letting me be part of all this Passionate DJ Nation.
I love you too, Mo.
And Gina said that your Sunday 30-minute mixes, you need to open the windows wider and turn it up louder.
Actually, I'm going to put a speaker out in your guys' backyard.
There you go.
For the next one. So that way, I was thinking about doing the next one actually out in the backyard, since the weather's.
If the weather gets too warm, you'll probably find Tripp in the bushes hiding right outside the window, for real.
Well, no, yeah, I should. One of these days, I'm going to have to just take the webcam and put it out, because from my studio into his studio, we've got a direct line of sight. There might be 50, 70 feet between us.
Back to back.
I don't think people realize how physically close our studios are to
Very
each
close.
other. Yeah.
I think you're missing the bigger point where you guys need to go back to back. That's really
right. There you go. Yeah.
Hey, well, I got that big ass generator now, so maybe we should do B2B stuff, man.
No, just put a microphone in the middle of the street and see what happens. All right? Open up windows.
All right, you guys have been awesome. Somebody mentioned earlier that this was a lot of fun. It was good to see everybody's faces and stuff. So I'm going to stop the recording, but I'm going to leave the stream going. Everybody's welcome to hang out in here and just chill for as long as they want. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Happy holidays.
Easy.
100.
Happy Festivus, y'all.
All right, so who's showing their dick now? Tony, I'm looking at you.
It took all of 2 seconds for that shit to start. As soon as the recording,
exactly.
exactly.
After dark.